Well, there goes the Daverhood. Good morning, everybody. Welcome on this pre-Thanksgiving Saturday morning, November 22nd, 2025, to the 1008th episode of the Dave's Gone By Facebookio Podcastio Programmio of the stream with me, Dave Lefkowitz, and all of you watching at home, and of course my darling and adorable wife, my own personal... Oh, how appropriate is this? Look at this. What are these?
Feet?
What is that? It's for a bird, a fowl, a poultry.
A drumstick.
Yes! And what did we just get?
Show them how to do it.
We got a baby drum set.
We did.
And you can use drumsticks, or somebody can use your fingers. So look, we got drumsticks for.
Press the little
yeah.
drum.
Here we go. Ready? Huh?
It's so pretty.
How apt, how appropriate is that? Drumsticks.
That's when you do like.
Cool.
Yeah, I love it.
It's so cool.
It's very fun.
Oh, I love it. This is great. This is going to be another sound
We
effect.
have a backup when that one breaks.
Yeah, well, we bought one. Actually, we bought one in a place in Boston, like 300 miles away. Then we came back to Maryland and bought another one a lot cheaper. So we have the expensive original, and we have same thing. Oh no!
Oh, David, are you okay? What are you doing?
Well,
Are you just throwing stuff?
the expensive original isn't quite.
You have the book. Why don't you read the book?
All right, hold on.
And the book. Be careful. You have the book
Trying to.
somewhere.
Yeah, all right, here we go. Now, there's just so much crowded around here. What do I do with the book? Oh, it's here.
It's a tiny little book.
I got it. I found it. Here we go. It is The Rhythm of Laughter, which, considering this show, I really should learn something about it. So here we go. The Rhythm, if you will, and you will, of Laughter for the drum kit by Craig Collin. Craig is also, of course, the author of War and Peace and Pride and Prejudice and Ulysses.
Is it?
But he makes money writing this.
Of course. That's his side hustle.
Introduction. A brief history of early stand-up comedy. Oh, I'm going to like this. Before you write, practice, and deliver your own brand of stand-up comedy, it's important to understand where it all started. Since the turn of the 20th century, and even before, brave souls took the stage, microphone in hand, with their sole imperative being to bring laughter to their fellow human beings. Even before it had a name, stand-up comedy was being performed in vaudeville theaters across North America, true. Vaudeville eventually gave way to nightclubs, where acts began evolving to resemble what we traditionally think of as stand-up comedy today. Meanwhile, comedians were also beginning to make a name for themselves in the all-inclusive resorts
David,
of...
what time will your guest be on? Just so I can answer a question.
Probably around 10.
Okay.
The comedians were beginning to make a name for themselves in the all-inclusive resorts of New York's Catskill Mountains. Jewish comics in the Catskills. Yes! Jews, baby! Jews! In the Catskills, or the Borscht Belt, as it became commonly known, will often use an onstage drummer to signal the punchline of a joke with a rim shot. While this interaction was made to feel organic and unexpected, it was often carefully rehearsed and scripted in advance. I remember Rabbi Sol got a dressing down from comedian Dave Koenig when Koenig, there was just starting the interview, and Dave Koenig told a joke, and Rabbi's like, ba-dum-bum, and Koenig was like, you never do that to a comedian. It's such an insulting thing to do. Not that Rabbi Sol cares about insulting anybody, but still, he had no idea. But yes, the old school comics would use the ba-dum-bum. Now, a word about the rim shot. The term rim shot, as it is widely used in comedy, has to do with things that people do with their anuses? No, I was reading it wrong. Here we go. A true rim shot is a single strike near the edge or the rim of a drum snare head, or a snare drum head. Let me try that. Okay. That produces a sharp accented tone. The sound was popularized and in fact is assumed to have been invented by jazz drummer Gene Krupa.
Really?
Who was the guy in the Benny Goodman band? He was on Sing Sing Sing. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
What most people call a rim shot is in fact more accurately described as a sting. Now the originator of the sting is much less clear, but history shows it was used as far back as vaudeville. So today, the comedic sting typically consists of 2 quick snare drum strikes. This is often written onomatopoeically as ba-dum-ts, not even double bum, as ba-dum-ts, ba-dum-ts, 1, 2. Yeah, but I think it's more ba-dum-bum, ain't it? One could argue that the DJ air horn sound effect. I didn't even prepare for this, folks.
You did, honey, don't lie.
Is making a play for the rim shot's claim to punchline punctuating fame. Regardless, the classics never go out of style, and it's safe to say that the rim shot sting will be around for quite some time. How to use your drum kit. Okay, we'll maybe take up more of this later, but isn't this the coolest, cutest thing? Beautiful, beautiful. There's no bass on it. There's no. Oh, there is. Look. It's got a bottom. What do you call it?
A paddle, yeah.
Yeah, baby. Oh my goodness. Who needs a Zildjian or a Ludwig drum set when you have this, my friends? I ask you that. I do ask you that. I'm asking you that. I'm Dave. You're watching Dave's Gone By. What's up? Oh, thank you. Dave's Gone By features former New York Times theater critic Ben Brantley around 10 a.m. Stay tuned. Yes. Yeah, so this way people are tuning in. A lot of people are watching the show probably for the very first time, and they're tuning in because we got a very, very special guest. You guys, if you've watched this show more than once or twice, you know that I spent a good chunk of my life, and still do, as a theater critic. I was freelance writer for show business and Backstage and Theater Week and theater, what was it? I can't even remember. I can't even list. Long Island Examiner, Long Island Pulse, New York Theater Review Online or something. What the hell?
I wonder where he started. Like, where did he get his start?
Well, no, we know where this guy started. So one of the things that and eventually I wound up as a theater journalist at Playbill.com. It was in the early.
You were an editor.
I started as a chief writer and became managing editor of Playbill.com in the fairly early years. We're talking, the site was founded almost 30 years ago now. So, my biggest claim to fame as a writer and journalist, but not as a critic, which is always what I kind of wanted. It was the one big disappointment of working at Playbill for the years that I did, was that I got to interview a lot of celebrities, great, fine, wonderful. I got to write tons of news stories, got to do all sorts of historical things, create a lot of fun work there and writing, but I never got to review anything because it was...
Oh, it was a conflict of interest.
Yeah, it was antithetical. How could Playbill review shows and then expect advertising?
Yeah.
Except, of course, the New York Times did it all the time. Yeah. Shows would get bombed by the New York Times critic and then still buy an ad in the ABCs, right?
Well, I guess sometimes maybe, it's the old adage, even being mentioned. Like, if you're mentioned by the Times, it's still a big deal, right? Like, if you're... Because how many shows didn't get reviewed, right?
Well, on Broadway, back in the day, Everything got reviewed, yeah.
Really?
On Broadway, yes.
Okay.
And the Times used to do a better job with off-Broadway and off, and that has slacked off over the years, as it has everywhere. But the other thing about the Times and Playbill is the real conflict of interest is it's not only appearing in a magazine, but that magazine is going to be in the theater. So if you have a lousy review of your show on the website and suddenly you're holding the book in the theater, the producers were not going to accept that. Yeah. So that was my main thing. And the golden goose for every theater critic in New York and everywhere else, the one shining job on the hill, the greatest of all time, the greatest of all time job, the GOAT job would be what? It'd be chief theater critic of the New York Times. What Walter Kerr was, or what Frank Rich was, and made that job very specifically. And then for a while there was David Richards for a little bit, and then for about 20 years, the man that we're going to have on the show today, a guy named Ben Brantley. I thought he took over directly from Frank Rich, but there was a transitional time. But then Brantley really made the job his own for 20 years, and would read him, fine writer, good critic, and of course everybody in my level and above and below wanted to kill him because we wanted his job.
Oh, God.
And of course I applied for his job. I never got his job.
Everybody wants to be king, right?
Here's a little message for the New York Times, right? So, but he didn't. Well, you couldn't hold a grudge against him just like you couldn't against Frank Rich, or you couldn't against John Simon of New York Magazine, or Michael Feingold of The Village Voice, with his great influential theater critic positions, because they were just so good and they were fine at what they did. You could envy them like crazy and turn green with envy, or any basic color with envy, but you couldn't say, oh, they're not earning the rep. They don't deserve it. They're not good writers. They're not good critics.
What was his training? Was he English writer?
He actually, wait, I'm going to be talking to him a little later in the show.
Give a little bit of preview.
But the weird thing was, there was and still is this magazine called Women's Wear Daily.
Yeah.
I don't know why Women's Wear Daily. It's a fashion magazine.
Another guy who got in there too. Another guy you interviewed worked for them.
I don't remember that. I know Howard Kissel.
Somewhere. Somebody did, and he said the same thing. Yeah. Was it the guy that you worked with at McCall's? And you guys had the debate, and he's like, I worked at Women's Wear, and then you were like, I worked at McCall's.
Oh, is it Peter Honorati?
I think it is him.
Well, he wasn't a writer. He became an actor, and then, an actor, yeah.
There, no?
I don't remember that. Maybe he did.
I'm going to look it up.
But there was something about, go ahead.
Peter Honorati. How do you, Peter.
Yeah. There's an actor named Peter Honorati who I used to work with.
Peter Honorati.
And before he was an actor, he was a sales rep at McCall's. He says working mother. I think it was working woman, but yeah.
I'm looking to see. Early life. It's not really.
But anyway, Women's Wear Daily was like this training ground for major writers and writers who would go on to big journalistic careers. Although I guess at the time, Women's Wear Daily was a big journalistic career move in itself. So essentially, Brantley was discovered via the WWD, just as Howard Kissel was, who went on to write for the Daily News for a bunch of years. But anyway, so that was where Ben Brantley made his bones, cut his teeth, if you will, went on to the New York Times, and then he retired. He put in 2 decades, and just around the COVID time said, time for a new generation. I've been doing this a long time, blah, blah, I don't know where theater's going. Maybe my voice isn't the one that theater needs right now, coming out of this and George Floyd and the Me Too and all of that stuff. So, yeah. And the New York Times is currently casting about for a new critic. And it's just, it's been months they haven't hired anybody. And apparently the people they've got writing for it now, there's one woman, and I haven't seen it. And you're gonna love this. You're gonna love this because you have no great love, even though she's a very funny and talented lady. You have a certain sort of rash to two people, Lin-Manuel Miranda and Kristen Chenoweth, right? And I don't, and my wife has this. I wouldn't say it's irrational; it's a personal thing. But Lin-Manuel Miranda seems to be like the nicest, most generous, most decent, brilliant man on Broadway. And Kristen Chenoweth, I've interviewed I did 2 interviews with her. One, she was the funniest. They are fake, but who isn't when you get in front of a camera or a microphone? And I have nothing against Chenoweth. I saw her in Wicked; she was great. I saw her in some other things; she was very funny. But she's now on Broadway in what apparently is not a very good musical called The Queen of Versailles. And most of the critics were pretty negative. Most of the gadflies and the yap-yaps on the, all that chat Broadway site and places like that are going like, ooh, they should have fixed this more out of town. It has some potential, but it's like, we don't know this character that she's playing, why we're bothering to follow her, blah, 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 blah. So it has the earmarks of a pretty high-priced, expensive flop, unless the Cheno fans come out of the woodwork to see her and keep it going. But the other thing that happened was the critic, the current non-chief, the stringer that they had reviewing it, I think her name is Laura Collins Hughes, really, really liked it. Which it is that thing, especially if you're in the theater game or you're a professional theater person. It's sometimes worse when a critic likes something that you think is bleh.
Because you don't trust their view.
Yeah, rather than, knocking something that you really like.
That's what they said in Attica.
Yeah.
I said, how do you relate? What do you think? And they said, most critics have people, they look for a critic who thinks like them. And then you use that critic as your barometer.
So if you suddenly have a critic who said, this is really good.
It's like, oh, Lord, no, yeah.
Now, again, the caveat is I have not seen The Queen of Versailles. And I'm also the kind of person who will like musicals that other people don't really, don't find that much to appreciate.
You're not as discriminating as most people discerning.
For a critic, I'm not. I like things.
There are flowers and leaves.
Yeah. Doesn't mean I'll love the whole show, but I'll think it's worth seeing. And I'll give it 3 stars, not 4, but I won't give it 2 and say, oh, this is crap, it's a terrible flop.
Loud noises, it's good.
Yeah. No, but shows like Ain't Broadway Grand and James Joyce's The Dead, and I'm like, this was good. Why does everybody have such knives out over this?
That's a good question.
Even parts of Dance of the Vampires, I thought was pretty funny. The Elton John musicals I could live with. But anywho, except Billy Elliot, which was very good. So, where am I going with this? Where I'm going with this is not having seen the Kristen Chenoweth musical, but reading everybody else about it, and friends I know who I trust who see everything.
What do your critic friends say about it?
Well, they're saying it's, mad and a missed opportunity and overblown.
The songs are bad.
The songs are okay. They're mad. It's just they're following this character who is goes from nothing to try and be like a big, rich pop.
Just got love. I don't know.
Oh, thank you. From whom?
I don't like.
Oh.
I can't use this.
But when the New York Times went out, everybody was expecting, oh boy, the Times is going to have its knives out, and they send this critic who's like, well, this was. I enjoyed this a lot.
I have a feeling they send people if they're maybe they send somebody who would like it because they were getting sponsorship. You have a bunch of people, so if you're going to send somebody, I'll sit through a Russian play for 12 hours and love it. Somebody else who likes a musical would be like, no.
Oh, of course.
So maybe they sent that person because they knew they would like it.
And we're also in that post-hyper woke world where the Times is going to say, well, let's send a woman. We need a woman theater critic because this is a woman-oriented.
They knew she would like it and write a good thing.
You never know if a critic. You can sense.
You know if somebody likes an actor.
Oh yeah.
You wouldn't send me.
Yeah, but I think Nathan Lane is magnificent, but I've seen him, stink up, or I've seen him in stinkers and not being able to save them. That's for sure. So you can never really guarantee, but you can have a critic predisposed to a performer or a playwright or a songwriter. You can have a Sondheim aficionado. You want to send a Sondheim aficionado, a newbie, to see a Sondheim musical. So I don't know. I mean, sixes and sevens, and until I see the show myself, if it's still running by the time I get back to New York, I'll be able to weigh in. But this is all by way of saying that right now there is something of a vacuum at the New York Times. It isn't the 1950s, 60s, where a Times review was like, but no matter if anybody said it was garbage, if the Times said it was good, it would sell 3 months worth of tickets and at the very least probably break even. Because the Times was up here, and maybe the Post and the Daily News were like here, Village Voice, New York Magazine here.
You know who the new critic's going to be?
Who?
AI. Chatbot.
Oh, that's funny.
I would get, a chatbot. You don't have to pay them.
Soon enough, you will bring a computer to the theater, and it will, and a playwright could program in, here's my draft of the play, what's wrong with it, AI? And not just the script, like the production. Like AI, watch the show and tell me what to fix.
Yeah, and then have the audience reaction and have them put in all the reviews and say, like, summarize all the reviews, like what is the common thread and what can I fix?
There have, I think, already been a couple of AI written plays. They haven't been produced.
Oh, really?
But yeah, of course.
The big thing about the AI written, the AI actor. Remember there was an actor?
Oh, this girl in the, like, yeah. That's the beginning. It's the absolute beginning. Every half the people on screen are going to be CGI. If they don't have a line, why hire an extra? Why feed them all day?
CGI was already in place.
Yeah. So we're in a different world. And I think Ben Brantley understood that when he was kind of saying, okay, I've been doing this, I'm X amount of years old, and he's not that old, but time for me to do some other things and let the next generation figure out what the hell theater's going to be and what this world is going to be over the next 10, 20 years. But meanwhile, the New York Times is just hedging and sort of saying, like, but that means it doesn't have the voice. It doesn't have the imprimatur that and it hasn't for a decade or more now, where the spacing of who reviews theater and who writes about theater is essentially, let me see what what is the vox populi, and let me check the Did He Like It, which is a compendium of reviews from different places, as opposed to the Times and everyone else. Right? So Brantley was at the tail end, very tail end of the Times and everywhere else. There's also the fact that nobody reads a hard copy newspaper anymore. If you want to read, you got to subscribe online. Got to want to read the review. So it just isn't. So even if they get a really fine new critic who balances the popular and the, I would say academic, but the journalistic and the sociological and the historical, and does what the great critics do, the percentage of people that's going to know about what they wrote about and read them compared to what they would have been 40, 50, 70 years ago is just nil. But anyway, we're going to be talking about all of that. And I know it's sort of inside arcane theater stuff, which I have done over the years on Dave's Gone By. But if you're into theater, and if you're tuning in to catch my chat with Ben Brantley, it's coming up in a little while on this 1008th episode of the Dave's Gone By Facebookio, Podcastio, Programmio of the stream. Now, what else are we going to do on the show? We have Greeley Times, of course, because my wife and I used to live in northern Colorado, where the local newspaper would, and still has a weekly column all about real phone calls that come into the local police department from people complaining or scared about something going on in their neighborhood, and they call the cops. And sometimes they just don't really need to call the cops. So these ridiculous calls are public record if we strip the identifiers out, which the paper does. Thank you, Greeley Tribune. And then we take the funniest ones of those and share them with you in Greeley Times. We also do have a Colorado Limerick of the Damned, which is for Carracas, Colorado. There's actually Carracas.
Like Carracas?
Yeah,
Wow.
Carracas, Colorado. And I have a poem about, for no good reason, but I have a poem about that. We'll also do Since Rabbi Sol will not be doing the interview today, I will. Every once in a while, I do my own interview still, just to keep my hand in the game. Oh, we are doing...
Are we going to do a turkey hunt?
The Rabbi Sol... Oh, wait, do I have a Thanksgiving book?
Yeah.
Oh, well, this is not a book, but we can do this, and Rabbi Sol is going to do... I just brought the book out. Where is it?
The Pout-Pout Fish?
Yes.
Okay.
Where is it?
I can't get out.
But what could be more... Because we'll do Carracas probably next time or in a week or two, because we have this. Yes. Or, thank you very much. Or we also have...
This is appropriate for today.
Oh!
And then you were going to do one of these. Why don't you do this? Yeah.
Well, this I'll do like my... Well, let's see.
Why don't you just pick one and do one?
Yeah, why not? Why not? All right, so much going on here. Can you take these out of the way, please? Thank you very much. So Rabbi Sol is going to do Pre-Hanukkah, a book that isn't ostensibly Jewish, but quite obviously is Jewish. The Pout-Pout Fish. He will be reading that as part of StoryTime. So yeah, no, my lovely wife, is pouting there in sympathy with the fish.
Yeah.
It's a depressive.
Is this a library book?
No, we got that from one of those lending library things on the.
Oh, is it eating peanut butter?
I don't know. I haven't read it.
This is cute.
We'll read it. Oh, good. Oh, good.
You're gonna love it. This is really cute. It's drawn so cutely.
Yeah, that's kind of the point.
Oh.
Uh-oh. Do bad things happen to the Pout-Pout
No,
fish?
it's
Oh.
a little. You might want to give a kiss warning.
Ew. Okay. All right.
Pout Fish has a friend, Mrs. Pout-Pout.
And then, of course, we may for the holiday. I should have put this up here. It's
You want to do it? You could just
Yeah,
get your
the tape is on here. Look at that. I Spy Thanksgiving. All right, let's do this. Let's get some color on there. Thank you very much. Hold on.
Yeah, you could. I think it's really you have the three of them, right? Three.
Yeah, but one is black and white. It's a maze,
Oh, yeah.
coloring in. But we can certainly have this. This is going to be really nice. I'm going to put this over here. Da-da-da. Maybe there. That's kind of nice.
Yeah, you can tell.
Look at that, huh?
It's Thanksgiving. It's like you have to find those images in there, David. Oh, that's pretty. You don't want to put the other one on the other side?
Well, let's see. There's yeah, this is nice. We'll do this one too.
Yeah.
Here's.
Thanksgiving. Yeah, what's that one?
This is really cute though. Notice the classic eat more chicken.
Yeah, it's a turkey hunt. You're supposed to find them around the library. So when we go to the library, if we go, you can bring that, and then you have to find those turkey images.
Oh,
and
we
check
should
all-
do that
if you
today.
check all of them, you get a prize.
Wow. Problem is, every time I try and participate in a turkey hunt, someone cries foul. So.
Wait, do your thing. You got it.
Oh, I do. Wait, now I can't see that here. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, let me put up the turkey hunt. And there's a perfect space for it, too. Let's just pop it right here. There it is.
Oh, that looks great. Plus, you can play their games to play, too. You can learn stuff. Well, that looks really nice, David.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, yeah. Now the set really feels it's popping.
It feels like it. Well, for me, with the thing, it gives more turkey. More Thanksgiving. Plus, you have the ribbons behind you, so it's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, it is November 22nd, 2025, right? We are doing our 1008th episode of this show. These balloons we put up.
Oh, that's right. Wait a second.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
When did we put them up?
Well,
this is not helium,
no, these are regular.
Okay, this, and none of them I'm looking for like.
Yeah. We put these up.
And I filled them with the $3 pump from Target.
Yes.
It wasn't like we had.
And you blew up some with your air, but with your.
No. It was all.
It was all
pump.
pump. Yeah.
But it wasn't like an expensive. Like some pumps are like.
Oh yeah.
These. And
No, like a $40 penis pump for when we.
This is
yeah.
pretty.
But yeah, this we blew these up for the 1000th episode of the show, which would have been 9 weeks ago.
And look, no, your balloons.
Those balloons are gone.
The helium are gone, but wow.
But this has lasted.
$11 for that whole thing plus the streamers.
Yeah.
From Target.
Yeah. And they're still semi-half inflated. They're not all saggy like my prostate.
No, it
These
might
are
have inflated it properly.
Yeah. For 8.5 weeks. I am now wondering if these are going to just barely last till our New Year's show, which is just a month away. Yeah.
I can't believe it. Like, some of them, the ones I didn't fill up enough, are a little more deflated. But the ones in the top look like I just blew it up, right?
Yeah. It's amazing. Those are good balloons.
It's like Dorian Gray.
That's right. You tie them tight, and they last. And I'm very happy about that. It's great. We've been able to use them and keep them show after show after show after show. They were really supposed to be only for our for our 1,000th episode of the program, and that was 2 months ago. When it was back in like late September, I think, or very early October, when we hit episode 1,000. And again, a reminder, if you want to hear or see any of our older episodes, because we saved virtually everything we've ever done, they're all at davesgoneby.com. DAVESGONE. Daves, like my name, davesgoneby.com. So our first episode is there, our 101st, our 1,001st, every episode. Now, the first 15, 16 years are audio only. We're a radio show, still are. But the last few years have been on video too. Every minute of this is still available at davesgoneby.com. We can also find our archives in our channel at archive.org. Archive.org. It's the same material, the same interviews, the same shows. It's just we have this other platform to save our stuff in case our website goes down or their website goes down. And it doesn't even matter who they go down on. If we want to make sure that our material is in both places. Plus, if you just care about the audio of the show, you can go to castbox.fm. That is for downloading our show as a podcast, but audio only. Castbox.fm. We have a channel there. So lots of different ways to nostalgize and catch up with. If you missed last week's show, go to davesgoneby.com or archive.org. If you want to hear an interview we've done with other theater critics, because we've had many, many on over the years, including like Linda Weiner of Newsday and a lot of friends who are critics all across the country, from Ann Siegel out in Milwaukee and Marie Kilker in Florida, and Jesse Green, who writes for the Times, was on our show a few years ago. We've had, especially around Tony time, we've been doing a Tony Awards special year after year after year. You can find them, all our old ones, from 17 years back, going to the archives. Anyway, enough said about the older Dave's Gone Bys. Let's get back to the new stuff of this one on this November Saturday morning in 2025.
I'm getting the live post ready.
Oh.
And then I'm getting it ready, and then AI will help me.
Oh, thank you, ma'am.
AI will help me.
Now, a couple of things I want to talk, because one of the other things that we do before we get to the meat of the show and the various actual segments that we do is just kind of going through the week and bantering about stuff. And what happened to us over the course of the week, and it was a rather active week. But the first thing I want to talk about is
These are the emojis that AI added.
Wow, cool.
I'm gonna load it when it's time. Okay. What?
So you know I have an issue with these machines that make noises and talk to you and do things. It's like our washer dryer. Remember when washer dryers, like you hit a button, you hear the noise of it going on.
Well, now it's telling you stuff. It loves you.
But now you can't literally pass by the washer without accidentally nudging it, and then the washing machine turns. It's like don't play music.
It's telling you, let's lay off.
But then you have to turn it off, and it's like It's like fine. The washing machine tells you on and off and plays music.
Let it go.
No. I mean, it's like I want a microwave to beep when something's done. I do want that. You have a hard-boiled egg maker that you can put like 8. It makes this noise.
You love that.
I love that. I love that when it plays
it
music.
For you. I've made some eggs later.
Yes. So I like that, but I a message.
I can bring it up here next time and do it.
Well, we can make a hard-boiled egg. Well, carefully in here.
It just needs a flat surface and electricity.
Yeah, we got that. We can use my ass. So.
Or what I could do is make the eggs downstairs and just record the sound and give you the sound.
That
might be safer.
Because remember, we were freaked out because we heard the music that your egg maker plays.
No, yes, when we first,
we tried your egg maker a couple of times. We made hard-boiled eggs, and then when the eggs were ready, it plays this song.
Dun, 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 dun.
And then we heard that song disconnected from that on some TV show. I was like, where do we know that from?
Phone. Yeah.
I was like, it turned into a cell phone. I was like, oh my God, that's our egg maker music.
Egg famous, thank you.
It is. It is. Well, I hope it's getting royalties if they're using that.
Probably not.
No? Oh, that's a shame. Because they were going to put out a whole record, albumin.
No.
Oh no. All right, here we go. I'll keep this over here.
Okay.
So.
You should take that with you wherever you go.
But I got a message this week from our washing machine. Okay?
Wait. Okay. Honey, did you take your tablets?
I went to the doctor, but I didn't.
Do you want to wear my tinfoil robe on that tinfoil coat?
It talked to me in the ways washing machine, where it had suddenly a red light that says, time for cleaning. You know that.
Oh, well, you do need a shower.
Yeah, I know, right? Thank you.
That's nice. It's telling that.
But it says, it's time to clean the machine or something like that. Some kind of, and I'm like, okay, another thing I have to deal with, because with dryers you're supposed to go in there and get the lint out. And here's the washing machine telling me, it's time to clean the wash. And then, for a moment I started to think about it, and I was like, what is this machine talking about? This is a washing machine. What you do is you fill it with soap. You're putting detergent into this machine every single time, 3 times a week.
Ask this if you're right.
Basically all you're doing is cleaning.
Yes.
How? Can you tell me, does this make any sense?
Yes, dear.
There's my yes dear button. How would you need to clean a machine?
How do they contact you?
Oh, it's just a red light goes on and says, a button that says, time for cleaning. No.
Talking, I got a little scared that you needed a tinfoil hat.
But why would you have to clean a washing machine?
Surely it's my turn.
Well, if you want to clean the machine. So I don't even understand what the hell that, because I can understand you're supposed to have the dryer blown out. I get a coffee machine, you're supposed to descale it or get the grounds out or something. I get that. Gutters on the house have to be flushed out and mucked out. I get it. But you shouldn't have to clean something that is cleaning.
Just ask the egg machine.
It's full of soap.
Ask the egg machine.
Every time. I may have to talk to our egg maker.
Why didn't I think of that?
Well, because that's what I'm here to think about. Anyway, so that was one thing on my mind that literally stumped me. By the way, if you have had that from your brand new washing machines that tell you everything, please text me, write to me at the Facebook page or davesgoneby@aol.com and tell me if you've had any ridiculous messages from your appliances. We're really turning into like Frank Zappa territory here, where everything is just like, you need to do this right now. I was like, you're a machine. Anywho. What else? So I got that one. And we weren't here last week, but the week before, we went to the middle school bazaar.
Oh, that was great.
Locally, yeah. They have it once a year at a middle school that's about a mile and a half away from where we live. Just tons of crafts, some baked goods.
Yeah.
Was there anything really special there? It was crowded.
I always get the honey. I like the honey.
Oh, good. I wish I'd gotten a couple of jars of it, but.
I don't know where maybe we have her tag somewhere.
Oh, maybe. Or maybe just look at the jar. The jar itself will tell where it came from. And then we didn't buy much crap there. We just kind of walked around.
We just look.
Yeah.
See what's there.
They have holiday stuff. And was mostly there. I'm trying to picture it as we walked
A lot
through.
of it's the labels, like a lot of it's like ornaments. A lot of it's like handmade jewelry. You know, well, you did get Spud. I'll get him.
Yes! Oh my God, yes! How can I forget this? Thank you. So, you know, if you watch this program, that potatoes are a very, 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 very important part of the culture of Dave's Gone By. Been collecting these ever since my hernia back in the late 1990s. So got bunches and bunches of these beautiful Spud's Potato Fellows. And
Taking off his hat because he didn't come with this. So you can
oh, that's true.
I can put the hat if he wants the hat later.
So we're wandering through this bazaar. Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
I put
And
his hat here next to your hat.
we see a table with a woman who has crochet items, the kind of things you'll find on Etsy.
She was the mom of
But one of the kids
she said one of the kids that her thing is she's a mom of one of the kids and that she does this for hobby and she enjoys it, so she sells it.
So we see a trio of this. And we look at it, and I was like, "Hon, I have to have
No,
this."
you didn't. You were like, "Oh, it's a chicken nugget."
Well, that was
and then
it
I
was.
said, "David, you need to buy it because it's a potato."
Yeah.
And she said it could be a potato, and I said it's a kidney, but it could be many things.
Well, she had a tag
Or
on
her
it.
husband said it's a big bean.
So, well, that's the thing. It could from the back.
Yeah.
This
Well,
could
you
be a
said
peanut.
You said a peanut. You.
Well, look at it. Look from the back. It could be a peanut, the shape, or baked bean. And we were in Boston just a couple of days ago, and then but the tag on it, I looked at it. I was like, "Oh, it can't be," and it wasn't. It's a chicken. She meant it to be a chicken nugget.
Well, you know, it's abstract.
But come on. It's one of these things is not like so. Of course, we got our newest, latest, most adorable potato. Not sorry. What? Not most adorable. Almost equally adorable potato. So this was worth coming to the event for. And now I feel a little bad that we didn't get the other two that she made, but you know.
We should have gotten our contact stuff too.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, if you want stuff like this and you go on Etsy,
Oh, I know.
you will
Yeah, I
just
know.
mortgage the house because and you take a sock and you put some eyes on it and boom, there's a potato. But it's so cute.
It's a yarn. We have to learn how to do it. You know?
Yeah.
It's very
So-
it's adorable.
So he's our newest addition to the Daverhood family.
Yes.
A brand new chicken nugget. We literally, his name is Chicken Nugget, but he's a potato.
Well,
We'll,
his
we'll,
first
just,
name is potato. Here, let me put his hat on.
we'll leave it
Show
at
his
that.
hat. Let me-
Oh, yes.
I'm gonna have to readjust the hat a little bit.
So we stayed in a hotel in Boston,
Let me check.
which weirdly enough had for their coasters. That was where it was from, right? The coasters in the room
Yeah, of course.
were these old-fashioned. I mean, they're made out of paper, but old-fashioned white, frilly-ish or frilly-looking doilies, and it just made the most sense to put the doily
Well,
on.
we had drop kicked him on the floor of the bookstore, so I felt badly.
You know what? Yeah, what happened was there was a lovely bookstore in Boston where we were in Back Bay where we were staying, and there's a very well-known store there called the Trident Bookstore, which is both a bookstore and a breakfasty, lunchy restaurant place in the same building. And so we had just bought. He's so cute. Bringing him around, and I took off my coat. I put my coat on the chair.
You put him on your coat.
I put it on top of my coat, and then I had to move my coat for some
We
reason.
were leaving, and you grabbed your coat and you flung him on the floor.
Yeah, he went because when I looked, I forgot he was there.
And I kicked him. I said, "What am I kicking?" And then I saved him.
Yes.
And then when we went home, we made him a hat so he'd feel better. But
Yeah.
He doesn't seem any worse for the wear.
No, he's been totally fine.
He's
He's been absolutely fine. He's
Well, I think,
adorable.
our poor friend had her meniscus ripped. I think he was like in shock. At least she didn't kick him. She probably,
Oh,
if
God.
she fell on him, she would have been in bad shape.
Yeah. We got to see a long past friend of ours from Colorado when we were in Boston, and she was like, "Oh yeah, she had her hips done like a year or two ago. She's doing a hip. She had one hip, so she's not tragically hip." And it's fine, and she's getting therapy, and she's doing this, and then she goes to an acupuncture, what do you call it, a chiropractor. And the chiropractor is working on her, and he's doing her leg and her knee, and suddenly he hears a pop. And she's like, he hears this. And he says, that's not good. Your knee shouldn't go like that. And now suddenly he ruined her leg, and she's going for this weird therapy where they do light on her knee and on her leg. And it's painless, it's nice. There's like light therapy, or there's a laser in it. What kind of light is it?
I think it is. I don't know. I didn't understand the full thing. I didn't want to ask because it seemed painful.
Yeah, but she's doing fine otherwise. It was good to see her. But yeah, we were in Boston
she
for.
fell over him, yeah.
Oh, well, that would have been really bad. Yeah.
Because she was after me. That would have been bad, David.
So how was your Boston trip?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to talk about the work
Talk
part
about
of it.
the train delay. I have a picture of the train delay here. Give me my phone. I'll show you.
Yeah, here we go. Hold on. So, to get to Boston from where we live in Maryland is a schlep. You can go by plane, and it's not a quick plane ride. It's a couple of 100 miles. Or you can take a train. And we thought, you know what, let's just Amtrak it. We got our Amtrak tickets weeks ago. And it's a 7 to 7.5 hour trip. Even the Acela is close to 7 hours. It's not like you're going to save a whole bunch of time. So we get on there and we're prepared for a long trip. What we're not prepared for when we get on the Amtrak is that as we're barely even half an hour out of Maryland, suddenly we're heading towards this bridge that...
It says it there. Read it.
Okay, let me...
I took a picture of you because I know you live your life to your show.
Delay notification. As of 5:57...
I'll do it.
Wait. November 12th. 5:57 p.m.
Oh, is that the wrong one? I'll give you the
Well, but that was the 12th. I don't know why it would be giving us that one, because we were on in the morning.
Yeah, but...
Oh, that was when it was pulling in. That was towards the very end. Yeah.
Okay,
Train 86 currently operating approximately an hour and 35 minutes. I was closer to 2 hours late. Due to an earlier Connecticut River Bridge inspection. We apologize for the inconvenience and thank you for your patience, blah, blah, blah. So literally like half an hour out of Maryland for a 7-hour trip, suddenly the train is stopped. And
the Acela passed us. You were mad.
Well, that was the thing. The conductor gets on and says, there's a bit of an obstruction. It might be a few minutes. We'll keep you posted. And whenever they say that, and they did this on 30 Rock, where Liz was dating an airline pilot. And he said, whenever you hear from the cockpit that there's going to be a 20-minute delay, they mean 45 minutes. Because they don't want the passengers to get a whole head up. So they
have a riot, yeah.
So they underestimate. And so the conductor kept underestimating. He said, it'll be a couple more minutes. It's like, and the only thing that pissed me off is supposedly we couldn't go forward because there was an obstruction at the bridge or something was going on with this bridge. And I'm like, okay, we're stuck. It's Amtrak. At least it's not Amcrash today. But then we're sitting there for about 15, 20 minutes at first, and there's an Acela train to our right.
Yeah.
And the Acela train pulls through and goes forward. We've been there for 15 minutes going nowhere. This train that was from behind us, there was the other train coming from where we were, 10 minutes later, but an Acela. It's like, suddenly, I guess if you pay for an Acela, you get to go. You get to fly over this broken fucking bridge, right? And I was like, really? Really? You know, it's one thing where Acela would be quicker.
He said the Acela won't go. They'll go before us over the bridge, but they can't go over the closed bridge. They're just ahead of us in line.
And then later on, as we were sitting there for like an hour, another Acela came by, but they were stuck too. I think the conductor and Amtrak realized, like, if they see this other train moving in front of them, there will be tiki torches. There will be, there'll be spears.
Everybody will be bombarding the dining car.
Yeah.
You told me people were riding in the dining car.
You can.
I didn't know that you could take the whole trip in the dining car.
I don't know if it's a whole trip,
What
but
does
there's
it look
tables.
like? It's like, is it like Oh, I remember. Yeah.
It was like
Wow.
eating at a fast food restaurant. You can sit
Okay,
at a
yeah.
table. People were working. People were yapping.
Wow.
They're getting quiet,
No,
but
it's like, but you can eat
yeah,
there, and
it's convivial. It's
Yeah.
yeah. So, but beyond that delay, the Amtrak ride was perfectly fine. We get to Boston, and this was when was it? It was last Wednesday that we left. And understand, I mean, that is a day of traveling. We had to leave at like 8 o'clock in the morning to get to the Baltimore station, and then leaving Baltimore station at like 9:30 a.m.
But the hotel,
and finally
the
coming to
hotel
Boston.
was like a 5-minute walk. It was
Yeah,
great.
that was cool. That was
Yeah,
a bit of
really
luck.
great, yeah.
But then the hotel was something cold because we were in one of the nicest parts of Boston, which makes it one of the nicest parts of the United States.
It was lovely.
In Back Bay on Newbury Street. We're in the
And I just saw the thing today on the that Newbury Street is known for fashion and food. It was lovely.
yeah. It's a
Such
really
a lovely hotel. It was gorgeous. We have a postcard from it somewhere. I don't know.
oh yeah somewhere
Yeah.
called the Newbury Guest House
Yeah.
Hotel, and it was just really nice, sort of old school, but not old crumbly school. Like
No.
not everything modern. It felt more like a
brownstone, yeah.
house.
It felt like a combination between it was a boutique hotel, but like a boutique hotel and an Airbnb.
Yeah, felt very very lucky to have booked the place. Really, no complaints about it. Well, and it's one of those things where, like, if it didn't have this, it'd be like, So, at night, for whatever reason, you'd set the thermostat.
Oh, it
at,
got warm. I think, so my theory is it's like when I lived in Philly, when you live in a row house, you're connected to other houses. So
Yeah.
you get warmer because they're warm. I think it's
Oh.
like the collective heat of all the houses. Like you
I
can't,
guess.
like you're wedged in. If you're, like this house is not connected, so you don't have, like, when you're connected, I think you're warmer.
True, but you set the thermo at like 66, 67 degrees. The AC should kick on no matter what anybody's doing to the side of you.
Yeah.
But something like 3 o'clock in the morning, I wake up in a schwitz. I'm like, what the hell? But one of the great things is, like, you just go, you could open a window.
And we didn't need it, but there was a little teeny fire escape. It was so cute. It
Oh,
was
I
like
missed
this
that.
big. It was like tiny. Yeah.
Oh,
They
nice.
have to have it so you can egress in case
Yeah.
of,
True. But that was great. Some of these
Our
modern
room was
buildings.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he said, I'm going to give you a room that faces the more quiet part, not Newbury. And David, our room, we had nobody we faced the stairs, but the emergency stairs. I felt bad because the people who were near the elevator, the second day we were there, maybe the first day, a sign went up by the elevator and said, if you return to your room between 10 p.m. and 8 a.m., please use the stairs, because I guess it's waking the people
Yeah,
in the
the
elevator.
sound of the elevator, people
But
coming in, closing doors.
We were near the exit stairs. We had only one person. We were only connected to one other
Yeah.
room. It was the best
It was
room.
great. It was just the hotel was a great
What did they have
experience.
that you liked?
Well, here's the deal. Here's the other thing. I still don't.
Both
Yeah,
machines.
you tell.
I don't know what you say.
Because one thing that I don't understand about, I understand the reasoning behind modern hotels doing this. You can't get a fucking coffee machine anymore in the room. You just want to get up in the morning, roll out of bed. For my wife, it's tea. For me, one cup of coffee a day, like a cup of coffee to start the day. I'm one of those people, and I don't even take it like strong, gotta be mud. I like it light and sweet, but I need it. I
Just like
want
you,
it.
honey.
Oh, thank you, sweetie. But they don't do that anymore in hotels, probably because they always break, or people make a mess or something. It became much, much cheaper and easier for hotels to say, no more coffee machines in the rooms. I think it sucks. Okay. But these hotels generally will have beverages in the lobby. It just means that you get up at like 6:37 in the morning and you have to throw on your clothes just to, and put on, be near people, and you don't want to fucking do that. You just want to sit there in your room, watch a little TV, and have a beverage. But this hotel, when you went in the lobby 24/7, I might add, if you went into the lobby, you could get a cappuccino, an espresso. Lavazza was one of the brands.
And
Yeah.
then they also had this seltzer machine we liked.
This is the most beautiful thing ever. They have a machine now, because we've had for a couple of years now, the the SodaStream.
Yeah.
And my wife absolutely loves it.
I love it.
I could go either. I'm thrilled that it's an Israeli product. And it's nice that it makes seltzer, you know. But for me, I always have issues with it you have to fill it and then, fill it, your bottle with water,
yes.
do the spritz, and either drink from it or take the bottle. And it's never spritzy enough for me. And the problem is, if you don't have the water cold, which we don't, we keep the water on the counter, it's like a little more than lukewarm seltzer. If you want to make a soda, you want it cold. And so it's like semi-lukewarm seltzer with spritz in it. It's not, I keep trying it, it's just not the same. But this hotel has a machine, I think it was a bounce or something, I don't know what it's, and you go there, you press it, and this machine does two things.
Three things.
What's the third?
Hot, cold, and spritz.
Oh, a hot, cold. You get cold water out of it, filtered cold water, so it's even more so than one of those water cooler things. You filter cold water, direct, boom, press a button, hot water, so make a tea instantly, essentially, without waiting for a Keurig thing. And you could press a button and get cold seltzer soda water. Just from right in there. And I'm like, and I was just drinking it by the gallon because I find it very hard to drink plain water. Unless I'm really thirsty.
Maybe we just put water in the fridge and then make it spritzy.
That's what I'm doing now. I'm literally taking the bottle of water, throwing it in the fridge overnight. So when I make a seltzer, even for that little bottle, I could do like 5 spritzes of the soda machine just to get it somewhat bubbly for me.
Unless the tank is old.
But it isn't. We replaced it last week.
Maybe you like more.
I like bubbles. I like bubbles. I want to destroy my bones. Didn't they say at some point that soda does something to your cartilage, your bone structure or something? It does something bad to your bones. I don't know. Anywho, but this machine I fell in love with. This thing, because if I were at the hotel, I would go buy syrups, and then I would just take stir the syrup in. Perfect soda.
We would definitely go back there if we have another conference in Boston.
Oh, yeah. But, so it doesn't absolve them from not having a coffee maker in the room, but to be able to go downstairs and get a cafe Americano, a Lavazza cup of this. And it didn't have hot chocolate, which I was...
They did.
They did?
I think they had K-cups.
Yeah, they had K-cups of more coffee, which was weird.
No, they had K-cups of decaf.
Oh.
There was no decaf coffee in the...
All right, yeah. Cool. So that was great in a manner of speaking too. And in terms of Boston, at least that area is a restaurant city.
Oh, the food was terrific.
Because we were up and down Newbury Street like constantly, and that whole Back Bay area. Yeah. And my gosh, every day.
Every meal was delicious.
Yeah. We went to one place that had Italian. What was the name of it?
Sansi?
It wasn't Sansi. We had something different there. There was an Italian place which...
Sonata. They all had S names.
Yeah.
You had something with lemon. It was delicious.
It was a pasta with cream sauce, but it was a lemon cream sauce. Yes. You would think it wouldn't go. It goes. Oh, did it go? Was that so good? And shrimp. And they threw a ton of shrimp in it.
It makes sense because they're known for their seafood, right? Boston's near the...
Yeah. Now, you liked yours, but it was just basically noodles with olive oil. I was like...
I think with the way that I checked it, like when I did the cacio e pepe and then I checked the olive oil, I think it canceled out something, but I didn't want... After being on the train that long, I don't want to try new stuff. I can't handle stuff like you. Yeah, but I think because of you checked the thing, they took away all the stuff that makes it cacio e pepe and just make it... We love olive oil, though. So, but I do have to say, there are certain words that I love to say, certain things that I just love the sound of. I love saying Fort Lupton, right? As you well know if you watch Lupton. I love that word. And then there's cacio e pepe. I love saying cacio. About your fig pizza and how I had the breakfast. We had the fig pizza and the breakfast at Sansi.
Fig pizza?
Fig.
Oh, fig pizza. Yeah, okay. This I wanted to try because we went to a restaurant, as she said, called Sansi on Newbury Street. And it was a prosciutto. I had a prosciutto on baked pizza.
And I had the breakfast. Well, then you would put the bacon on your pizza. They give us like 6 strips of bacon.
And that helped. Because I wanted to try it. And for what it was really good.
Yeah.
But I am on the other side of the sweet on pizza kind of pineapple
pizza for
fig.
You.
No. It was tasty, but I will never. It's not. I don't want fig on
your,
pineapple. No.
What did you have? You had some really good thing with sweet potato with the Trident.
That was at
the bookstore. You had it was like sweet potato hash with stuff. What was it?
It was good. It wasn't. It was not called hash. I forget. I made some notes, but I didn't make an actual note of that. That was a nice.
And then the last day we had the Israeli place.
Yeah.
Lamb Bethlehem.
Well, this was the only thing disappointing about this restaurant was my mistake about the history, because outside this restaurant it's called the Landwehr Restaurant, and it's also on or near Newbury.
Yeah, it was near we walked like 10 minutes or 5
Yeah,
minutes.
it wasn't on Newbury. It was close.
It was connected to another hotel, but I don't remember the name.
Wasn't the Colonnade, but it was
No, it
somewhere.
was near there. That's where my friend was. Yeah.
So it's the Landwehr Restaurant, founded in 1919.
13.
I have 19, but 100 plus years ago, this restaurant founded, and I'm like,
The chain, yeah.
well, that was the thing. I'm going in, and it looked old school. It had that little bit of Barney Greengrass, sort of Katz's-y.
Oh, it was delicious, honey.
But the thing that threw me is when I actually read the history of the thing, is like, yes, Landwehr, the guy, founded this restaurant in 1919 in Berlin. He was a German Jew, and he got the fuck out of Berlin.
Oh, I thought he founded it when he came here.
No. This restaurant thing started 100-something years ago.
It was delicious, David. Oh.
And then he got out, but he moved to Israel because it's known as sort of an Israeli chain thing.
Yeah.
He moved to Israel and ran it there. The restaurant we were in has only been there since 2018.
But can I tell you something? Who cares? It was delicious.
Oh, it was delicious.
They made their own bread.
Oh, the bread. Oh, the bread.
And
If
then
I tell you the bread.
I forced you to get like a beef thing, so there are chunks of beef in it. Because I know she's like, oh, the chicken sandwich. I'm like, you ain't gonna eat no chicken.
No. Chickens, I would have had a schnitzel. I would have had a schnitzel thing, but they had this brisket in a shakshuka, which is something I very, very rarely have, if at all. And it was super. And oh my God, the bread.
Yes.
It came with like a pita thing.
Kind of bread.
Oh
Fresh
my
made
God.
in the oven, yeah.
So, and I think they're expanding. So they've got locations in Massachusetts, Florida, Vegas, and Toronto.
Oh, wow.
As well as, I think, Israel. So I was very, very, very happy. That was like our last big meal in Boston. And it was like the best one we had there. It was fabulous. So lot of great eats. I went to a sushi place with really good rainbow rolls. Just really, really cool.
I went to a little coffee shop with a student, the one that said flour. It was really nice.
Oh.
I had a chopped salad that had I think it was like feta. It was a Greek salad. I just said leave the meat out. It was really good.
Ooh, good. Yeah, I remember I passed it because it's got an egg where the O should be in the
really nice.
sign. So that was, it was really nice. I mean, you had work to do there and people to meet, but mostly it was about food. The only thing we didn't do any museums. Didn't want to schlep around another. We've been to the Boston Museum.
The library museum.
Yeah, tell.
You say there's pictures you can show.
We took a picture of the exhibit, the
I took
exhibition.
one that says this land is indigenous land.
Oh yeah.
If you want pictures, David, there might be more pictures of stuff. Let's see. So there's pictures of.
My pictures of you.
In the restaurant here, babe. You can look through, yeah.
Oh, so this was in Landwehr.
And there's a bunch of them, so you could shrink that and then go look for the rest too.
Well, this is the one that fooled me at first into thinking that the restaurant we were in was 100 years old, because that case to hold sugars and looks like it's from the 40s or 50s.
Yeah.
I think it really is an old thing, maybe from an earlier Landwehr. Oh, got to shrink that down.
And you could look for the neck. There's a series of pictures. You have all the stuff we're talking about there.
So this We did not eat at the Mexican restaurant that had the big green wavy man in the background.
Oh, you loved him, yes, your friend.
Let's see.
He was a cactus.
Oh, that's right. It was a Mexican
cactus,
cactus.
yes.
Yeah. So there it is. Did not eat there, unfortunately.
It was by the parking garage. I don't know.
Let's see what else we have. I'm not going to show the dancing picture of us, but that's really cute.
Yeah.
But and then at the big public library there in Boston, they had an exhibit, a really good exhibit. They're sort of like the New York Public Library. When they get an exhibit, they do it right.
Yes.
This is they did one about activism.
Yes, correct.
With tons of photos and I mean no other kind of media. It was all photographs and signs and things. But like stuff like this, if you can read this, you are on indigenous land, which is absolutely true.
More pictures you have to see.
I don't know if we took a lot
I
in the.
don't think you cared for the Polish thing you got when Ronica got her. Where she got her.
Yeah. Well, going back to food there.
Yeah.
But I do want to mention.
More stuff here.
Yeah, but there is this great line that was at.
Oh, this is when they brought the bowl in. You want to show them?
Yeah. Well, let me finish up with the public library exhibit because there were a couple of like incredible photographs and things that do make you think because much as I say that I'm anti quote unquote woke or much as I am far more centrist than a lot of the liberal folks on my Facebook page and stuff, and much as I've made very clear of my issues with elevating people like George Floyd to folk hero status, because no, he should not have been murdered, but he was a grab, stuff like that. But there's a great line that someone had about the American flag that said, and I'm pretty sure it was a black thing, but it might have been indigenous, might have been anything. And it said, I won't stand for this flag until it stands for me.
Wow.
Isn't that just a great, for people, and I'm not one of those people who's going to kneel for the flag at a football thing or a baseball thing. I will stand and put my heart.
Try.
Yeah, okay, hold on.
Try to focus.
I am.
Active today. What's your act? What does it say on there?
Okay, self-discipline.
Yeah. That's where your goal is, David. Focus on self-discipline.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, I'm one of those people. But that line makes me understand why a person would kneel. Like what was it, Colin Kaepernick would kneel for the flag. I won't stand for it until it stands for me.
You don't feel protected or represented. Yeah.
And there's also this incredible photo of this guy who's wearing this giant AIDS quilt. Sewn together of all these dead people.
Obituaries, yeah.
And the thing about the picture that's even more incredible is not that parts of the blanket are black.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what happened? Is it a shadow in the thing? No. He was at a place protesting, wearing the blanket, saying money for AIDS, anti-Reagan, please Reagan, listen to us. And counter-protesters attacked and tried to burn the flag. I'm sorry, burn his blanket. Which is like an amazing thing. So if you get to Boston and you get to see this activism exhibit, it really will make you.
And the public library was great, and there was no admission. I mean, I thought it was hysterically funny because I know 5 doors away was like the $100 tea service at the library. It's like, come on, people.
Well, true. Well, what's the other thing? There's nothing to do with Boston, but the other irony that you pointed out to me yesterday is that. And we'll talk about this later or maybe next week, but we joined the gym.
Oh, yeah?
We joined the gym this week because, I should get in a better shape and da. So this gym opened about 1.5 miles away from where we live. And we've been waiting for it to open. We wanted to join it a couple of weeks ago. And they said, it's an outlet of, I'll say it's Planet Fitness, right? And there's Planet Fitnesses freaking everywhere, but this one is a quick local drive, or would be, but it kept delaying the opening, delaying the opening until finally, just on a thing, we said, we'll sign up because they have a special annual thing right now for people signing up. We'll do it. And she calls yesterday and says, we just opened. Literally, just opened yesterday, we go. But my wife points out that the gym opened in the place where we got our furniture when we first moved to Maryland 3 years ago. And the place where we got our furniture is Lazy Boy. And we've been very happy with the Lazy Boy. I mean, it looks great. It's worn very well. It's nice stuff. But the irony, and I should notice these things.
Yeah, my
she
friend
did.
My friend said, she said, where is it? Where is the new gym? And I said, oh, it's in the place that was the old Lazy Boy. And she started laughing. I'm like, what's funny? She goes, you don't get the irony of like a gym reclaiming a site that was for like
for couches and love seats
and laziness.
Yeah, and chairs.
Recliners.
Yeah, big recliners where you have a koozie for your beer, a snack tray, the TV remote, the vibrating thing, and then suddenly it turns into a gym.
I think it's cool.
That is kind of neat. Anyway, anywho. So that's I think most of what we have in our trip to Boston. I knew we picked a great place to go and a great block to stay on when I saw one of the stores had on its marquee a Totoro.
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh my God, there's a Totoro.
That's very big.
And it was the same week. Talk about literally coincidence, because it's been on that marquee for years, I'm sure. We were watching TV, that cable, and South Park. And South Park had its latest episode where they're making fun of AI and the misuses of AI.
Yes.
And Butters, gets back, he like sends this girl this AI thing of her doing things that's mocking, humiliating her. So she gets back at him.
Yeah.
And I wish I could see it again. I guess they haven't memed it yet.
Yeah.
She makes a video of Butters raping Totoro. And you literally see the expressions on Totoro's face, which are just like in the movie, but it's Totoro being raped. And people say rape is never funny. Yeah, rape is fucking funny when it's done right. And Butters from South Park raping Totoro is quite a magnificently funny thing. But it was just so weird seeing this logo, and then suddenly, bam, right on the TV the next morning, we're watching South Park, and there it is. And the only other thing about Boston that I can remember to say or think about was when I went for walks. And I'm always a nosy parker. I always look in windows and see people, not like people undressing and stooping or stuff, but just to see what does the furniture look like? What is, how well do they live? What's there? Are they having dinner? Are they? But from the ground level, when you look into these open windows, there's something about, maybe it's just that neighborhood, they love big, elaborate chandeliers.
Oh.
The lighting fixtures in these, because they've got these big ceiling places.
Yeah. Maybe they have space for it.
Because I think they have like 10-foot or maybe 12-foot ceilings in the houses and the row houses they have there. But I'm looking up and I'm just seeing chandeliers that you see in an Orson Welles movie. I'm like, wow, it is impressive. But I was wondering if that's a Boston thing or an old Boston money thing or whatever. Anywho, if you have been to Boston and you want to share your memories and thoughts and so forth, email me, davesgoneby@aol.com, davesgoneby@aol.com, or you can, of course, post or message me right on our Facebook page. It is 10:15 in the morning Eastern Time here in the Daverhood. So and we're gonna post that in just a moment because yes, we have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned coming up. Yes, we have our Greeley Times segment coming up, and Rabbi Sol Solomon is going to read from the book The Pout-Pout Fish. All of that ahead on this 1008th edition of the Dave's Gone By show. But as promised, we have a real treat in store for you if you're an arts person, if you are a theater person, if you were reading theater reviews for about 20 years in the New York Times, you will know the writing of this man, Ben Brantley. He's still writes sometimes about the theater and write culture in general, but he's basically stepped away he retired from the Times about 4 years ago. So he's living his best life, and so are we, because we get to have Ben Brantley on this program this week. So let me bring some stuff down so I can share my screen with you and my conversation with Ben Brantley. Just have to knock that down there to share my screen. Let's do that. Let's kill that. Let's kill that. Let's kill that. Let's open that. Let's open that. And make that big. Yeah. The wonders of technology. Thank you for joining us on this Saturday morning. Here I am with Ben Brantley. Here on Dave's Gone By, even though I'm wearing purple, I'm actually green with envy at the person that I am talking to right now. Someone I've known, kind of almost casually for years and years and years, because I've been a theater critic for almost 4 decades now. Used to be managing editor at Playbill.com, but the job I wanted, because I could never be a critic at Playbill. I wasn't allowed. I just had to write news and features and interviews and things. But this guy was not only a critic, not only the lead chief critic, but he was the chief critic for The Gray Lady. And I don't mean Isabel Stevenson. I mean the New York, can you guys smile like that? For the New York Times, the paper of record for more than 20 years. He's Ben Brantley. He's still seeing a whole ton of theater and occasionally writing about it and reporting about it. He's the winner of the George Jean Nathan Award for Drama Criticism, which is about as good as it gets in terms of awards and rewards for those things. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is truly an honor to bring to the Daverhood Ben Brantley. Welcome, Ben. How you doing?
I'm doing well. It's Halloween, as you may have gathered, and I see you have sort of a red and black backdrop too. The way
well, this is a theater. I don't know. Yeah. No idea what theater it is. Actually, I'm kidding. This is my bedroom. It's I had to get in the seats. I loaded them in from
I love theaters used as other spaces, though. I think it would be great to have a theater bedroom. 2 friends and I gave a party. Actually, it was just after 9/11. In a December of 2001, we took over the Connolly Theater. Yeah. And it was the best set, as it were, for a party there ever was. The different tiers and
well, was the Connolly black box, or does it have a
it's
a proscenium? It is black, so you can move anything. You could do yeah. So yay! So that was the thing. You were quote unquote retired right around COVID.
Yeah. Right? Oh no, it was the moment. It just I stayed on for like a year and a half after the pandemic began. It still didn't seem like there was a possibility of its ending in the imminent future, and it seemed. I mean, I was the right age. I was 65. It just seemed like the perfect moment. Like the everything had kind of converged for me to.
But did you get tired? Because you're still seeing a ton of theater. So did you just get tired of the grind of having to churn out 1,000 or 1,200 words 2 or 3 times a week, or because you get tired of theater? Why stop before you die?
Well, I had the feeling. I mean, criticism is not what it used to be, as it were, in terms of its status. I don't think and I also, I'd been there for 27 years at the Times, and it was, don't forget, it was a moment of, the Black Lives Matter movement coming into and becoming so forceful at that point. And I was getting a lot of actually rather mean emails saying, white gatekeeper, step down. And that's not the reason I did it, but I thought, in a way, they're right. I've been there for so long. And I also had the feeling that the way I write might have to change a little bit. I think I knew it was going to be a very self-conscious time for theater and for criticism. And as I said, all the other elements sort of came together. So it seemed the perfect moment to step aside.
Now, what's nice is, as I mentioned, you still see everything or everything that you want to. Yeah. Where do you transmute that? Do you just see it for pleasure and you don't have to write or do anything, do podcast about it? Where does your thoughts about these shows go?
Oh, I don't know. It'd be like asking, if I were an alcoholic and had been writing a wine column, then why do I continue to drink wine? I mean, I go because it gives me, greater pleasure than almost anything. Certainly anything that's a communal activity. I don't go to baseball games, but I do go to the theater, and it's when I left, I wrote an essay saying that I would always be a theater critic because people would always say, don't you want to relax and not have to think about it so much? But the pleasure for me, I also like doing, word puzzles and so forth, but the pleasure for me is actually focusing, because things are so much more interesting if you focus, if you give them your full attention. And I mean, there'll always be a part of me that's, the 6-year-old fanboy going, oh, wow, I'm at the theater, isn't this exciting? And then there's another part that, even if I'm not on duty, is still assessing and weighing and not even judging. It's just trying to figure out why this works, if it works. So it's very stimulating. I always have a little difficulty sleeping after a great night at the theater because you're so revved up.
So what is, since you are seeing recent theater, and we'll get back to your backstory and what you were daily and all that, but like this year, what's kept you up at night after you've been to a show?
John Proctor as the villain did. Yeah. And it's not that I think if I just read the script, I would have thought, well, it's a worthy play. It obviously has a message to put across, and it does it rather lucidly. But in performance, it is wonderful, and it goes places that the text can't or doesn't. The moment where the three students, the three girls, scream is just, I found that so cathartic. But and it was just such a release. And it is more than anything, any speech that's made. It gives you a sense of how difficult it is to be a young woman in this environment, where things haven't changed quite fast enough. And the dance, of course, is great. I mean, and the best things I've seen about adolescence, they capture that kind of incredibly sort of scary, feral nature of adolescence, because that's a big part of it too, when hormones are popping and everything seems like you're so thin-skinned that anything could bruise you and anything could totally turn you on.
I haven't changed. I'm 61 years old. I'm still like that. But anyway.
Congratulations. That came across so beautifully in that, and it also reinforced the more general message, the more general theme. So that excited me. I really liked Operation Mincemeat, which I hadn't expected to fall in love with to the extent that I did. But it's about, I started crying pretty early in because it's about theater and what theater can do that no one else can do, that no other art form can do, that is. And the resourcefulness, how you can convey a sense of spectacle with, 6 people?
5 people on the stage.
5 people, that's right, yeah.
And also the letter scene, I was unconvinced in parts of it. I thought, this is a little twee, I can't even understand what half of them are saying half the time. But the letter scene, I was like, aha. Okay.
And then it went there all of a sudden, and it was like, yeah, we can be, the clowns, the mimes, the people who are, so cleverly putting this in front of you, which was sort of what I'd dreaded. One of the reasons I thought I didn't want to go, because as you say, I thought it would be all that. But then they also said, but look, we can also tear your heart out. We can make you weep. And yeah, that was beautiful.
Now, there's another show that you mentioned just before we went on the air that is deliberately controversial. I haven't seen it. That is deliberately provocative. That is deliberately getting both the right and the left. Is that you can't? How can you do that? And it's a show, honest to God, called
Slam Frank, which, if you break it down, it's slam as a form of delivery, and Frank as an Anne Frank. And it takes place in that fabled attic where Anne Frank and her family and another family, the Van Dams, were all in residence. And it is, that is a sacred horse, a sacred cow that you don't skewer. It's like, hands off Anne Frank. So my former colleague and the critic I greatly admire, Jason Zinnemann, had written a piece about comedy as trolling and was saying this may be the ultimate instance of that in theater. But there's more delicacy to it than I expected and more depth. I mean, it attacks not only the sacred cow of Anne Frank itself, but every kind of sacred cow, and especially the idea of identity politics. And you realize the extent to which this has permeated the theater, well, since COVID, basically. And again, I knew it was going to be a more self-conscious time in theater, and it parodies that kind of self-consciousness. Anne, in this case, has decided she identifies as Latina. By the end, everyone in the attic will have decided they identify as something other than Jew in an attic. It's a lot of it is done in the style of Hamilton, which is kind of brilliant. And it's funny, and I don't think it's just, trying to be provocative. I don't think this is like a Dadaist trick or a political flag waving thing at all. I think it does what Forbidden Broadway used to do in an odd way, but with much more historical context and insight. It places it in our moment in history as well. But there is one power ballad after another that makes you realize, my God, I've heard songs like this in pretty much every Broadway show I've been to in the past couple of years about who I am, and I am me, and you keep thinking, well, okay, this is fine, I'm comfortable with this, and then it pushes it 1 degree further, and you go, I'm not so comfortable with this, and then you get used to that, and then I would even tell you the places it goes, but I think it's all on the side of the angels.
Wow. Now, speaking of the side of the angels, where do you think your place in New York commercial Broadway, or even beyond commercial Broadway, in history is, having been the 20-something year critic at the New York Times?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to break down. I was chief critic. I always just say I was chief critic for more than 2 decades. I was there as the second string critic when I started in 1993. Which I really loved, because then you got to see, I made a point of seeing the stuff that I had reviewed as the second string critic, the Worcester Group and Richard Maxwell, PS 122. All of that remained very important to me because I thought it was where the newness was being generated. But anyway, I did that from 93, 96 was when I was made chief critic. And then I think in 2017, I became co-chief critic with Jesse Green, who then, when I left, became the chief critic, and is now not doing that anymore. But,
how do you feel? I don't know how comfortable you are talking about your old boss, but how do you feel about what theater coverage in the Times, the bouncing back and forth of the loss of the supremacy of a voice, of a legitimate voice of the newspaper of record? Positive.
Well, I do think the nature of criticism has changed so much. This isn't because I have insider access, but they released the memo, or that Saya Michelle, the culture editor, wrote about what they were looking for in their next round of critics. For those who don't know, 4 eminent, you might even say preeminent critics at the New York Times and the arts were relocated to other pastures. Generally, I think they've been asked to do sort of cultural reporter, cultural critic at large kind of thing. Tony Scott did that when he quit movie reviewing, but among them was Jesse Green. And do we not, anyway, in the memo that went out from Saya, it was interesting because a lot of people pointed out writing was not considered an essential criterion. Presumably that she thought we would take that for granted, but it was not listed as one of the things they're really looking for. What they're always saying now is they want a new way of telling stories. And
so they want a blogger?
I think they probably want more video, more interpretive interaction with video segments. They seem, again, I'm speculating, and this is purely conjectural because, as I said, I don't know, but a livelier kind of livelier. God, what is livelier than really good criticism? But don't you find that I mean, the way I absorb criticism anywhere now, including in films, it's not because I have very little print media now. I read pretty much everything online. The one thing I do subscribe to, and hard paper, is the London Review of Books. And because that you have to read. I mean, they're long. I mean, you have to actually sit down and read it and turn pages because they're very, very long. On a screen, I don't think I could do it on a tablet, I suppose. But I like the physicality of that interaction. I still read books, but I find, when I'm online, I've been conditioned now to glide.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You don't really sink into criticism. And also, there's so much preemptive work done by the creators and press people for new productions. And this is true in film, probably more true in film than in theater, but I think it's becoming more so in theater, where you have everyone in the cast sit down and just talk about what's going to be happening. So it's in the air already, and you may have a sense it already opened. And when I started, and I was sort of in the last chapter of the great days of
you were there for Follies, for crying out loud.
Yeah, it's true. But I wasn't at the Times for Follies. I was a kid then. But,
yeah. Oh, that was your first show. Right?
Yeah, that was That was the first show I saw. It was the first show I saw. Can you imagine? What an introduction to have that of all shows. I have a lot to thank my parents for. But it was still, when I arrived, people would go to, the press team would go to the Times at 11 o'clock at night when the review was coming out for the next day and read it aloud to one another in the lobby. I encountered that a couple of times when I was going in late after the theater. So it was, and this was according to a paradigm that was like a century old. I edited a book of New York Times reviews, not mine, although some of mine were in it, but a century's worth of New York Times review at the end of the 20th century. And it was amazing how consistent in some ways it was. It was still the idea that you would see the show, you would write about it the next day in a fever, and it would have this kind of almost sports reporting sort of urgency and energy to it. That changed slightly before I arrived, and that I think either Walter Kerr or Clive Barnes, both lay claim to it, said, if I'm going to be writing this much, I need more time. I want 2 days ahead. I want critics' previews. I don't want to have to go on the opening night, because for years, it was the critic would be seated on the aisle. The reason they were seated on the aisle, so they could run back and type it out that night. Joe Lelyveld, who was the editor of the Times, probably the finest editor-in-chief of the Times when I was there, told me about being Brooks Atkinson's copy boy. And I said, well, what was it like? I said, you mean you put his reviews to bed? And I said, was it frantic? He said, no. He was very calm. He would come in, take off his coat, smoke his pipe, and then write his review out by hand. And Joe would take that, hot leaden, so to speak, type and have it set. And
that was when it was opening night, and then you had a couple of hours.
It was opening night.
And
they would wait at Sardi's for the review because, it would...
But even in Frank Rich's time, then you had the preview period where he'd go to, I guess, two nights
but I said,
before.
Clive and Walter Kerr were the 60s, basically, a little of this, or the 70s too, with Clive, and Walter early. So we had, the only time I had to file instantly, I would have to file the next morning sometimes. And of course, then they weren't like for encores or something where they didn't actually have a preview period, the encores, American Musicals and concert. But often we'd have, as long as 4 or 5 days. If they felt confident, if it were a show from out of town that had found its feet pretty quickly when it transferred, in its new digs. You might be let in even earlier. I didn't need all that time. I actually liked, because I grew up, both my parents were journalists, so I grew up on that kind of deadline and that kind of Insta writing. And so I would generally write, no, that's not true. The very beginning, my first couple of months there, I would type my notes out. And
No, but I mean,
which-
there is that thing. I teach part-time English at university, and I'll give my students like 3 to 4 weeks for an essay. That really, essentially, most of them will start 2 nights before,
Right.
and they need that little. There is something to be said. And I've done the O'Neill Center, which I'm sure you've been to, and I've done
I have.
the National Critics Institute, where it's like you see the show, you write it up, and there's something about done. As opposed to having it hang over you for 2 days, and you wait, and you overthink, you procrastinate, and then you write a paragraph, and then you go away from it. Sometimes it's good. It's like, yeah, I need this in 6 hours. Cool,
Yeah, no, I found that really thrilling. I mean, I was ideally equipped in some ways because my parents, as I said, were journalists. I was writing for newspapers by the time I was 10. And, it'd be like my version of Halloween, when I went trick-or-treating is that kind of thing. And then I became the teen correspondent there. I published a newspaper on our street. Again, it was like, if my parents had been shoemakers, I probably would have been cobbling. But,
But let me ask you, what I never understood, I never, ever read Women's Wear Daily, but what was it about?
Oh, no, I was getting to that.
Oh, sorry, yeah. But,
these were actually the two things. So anyway, Women's Wear Daily was very much in that tradition of fast deadlines. In some cases, we would show, I remember being in Milan or Paris, and we would file instantly. I mean, so it would be able to make the next day's paper because of the time difference.
It never occurred to me that it would be such a theater-centric kind of, but Howard Kissel came from there.
Well, Howard, yeah, no, and I wrote for Howard at Women's Wear, but he didn't review fashion, and I think he considered us sort of an alien species, those of us who did. I mean, I had no background in it. Oh, the other thing I was going to say that prepped me well was I went to a tiny college called Swarthmore, just outside of Philadelphia, and you had the option of going into the honors program for your junior and senior years, where you didn't receive grades in those courses for 2 years, but you wrote seminar papers every week after doing colossal amounts of reading, and then you were graded at the end of the 2 years by a board of visiting professors. So it's basically very graduate preparatory. But that too, in terms of sort of the having to be able to synthesize complicated ideas in a short period of time. Because what it would be, we'd read, 1,000 pages that week for your seminars, and then you would do your paper out of what you'd read. So God, I smoked then. If I'd smoked, from the time I was at the Times, I would definitely be dead by now. But because I liked that nicotine rush.
How did you give it up? Just personal question. How did you were obviously...
I stopped. My mother got lung cancer, and I just thought, no, this is something to take seriously. And so it was, in honor of her too. But so anyway, you combine those two things. You've got, I remember at Women's Wear, it'd be, see the Giorgio Armani show on, say, a Wednesday night. It would end at 10 o'clock, and everyone would be swooning because it was, it had redefined this or that, or even if it hadn't, he was, working in his own vocabulary and all that. And you would go to the Milan office and you would, bang it out on the teletype, or you would dictate it to someone at the teletype machine. And so that was real front page stuff.
I do want to ask you that as a critic myself. How the hell do you review fashion? Is it the kind of thing where when you review dance, it's like 90% just describe what were they wearing and having, how do you say this was good, this was bad,
Well, I had a genius as a boss, John Fairchild, who had turned Women's Wear Daily from a kind of frumpy trade publication into this must read. And it still was that when I first arrived in New York in the late 1970s. And not only for the garment people. And it was, well, I've told this story many times, but years later, I ran into Calvin Klein at a party. And I was with two friends, and he invited told us he would drive us to the after party to which we were all going. So we were all in his car. And I got out to, I don't know, probably buy cigarettes, heaven help me. But he turned to my friends and said, "You don't understand. He used to be really powerful." And from his point of view, that was when I was incredibly powerful, when I was, the chief fashion critic at Women's Wear Daily. Chief theater critic at the New York Times was, although he likes theater and so forth, I don't think the significance of the job I went on to registered
Well, actually,
for him.
how did you carry that mess? You see, you didn't realize when you were at WWD how powerful you were. At the times, you must have realized. Did that...
No, I would say more at Women's Wear Daily, really. Times you put on blinders, you have to. I mean, you just say, okay, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to shut off a lot of the noise that's going to be, coming back at me. Women's Wear, it was, I said John Fairchild. He made it interesting. He thought we should look at the people we were writing about, and he was the one who really made personalities out of designers. Before that, they were anonymous, workmen, essentially. The label didn't have a face with it for the most part. Bill Blass or Calvin Klein or Oscar de la Renta, and he sort of mythologized them. He mythologized them sardonically, though. He had a very wicked sense of humor, and I had no background in fashion, none whatsoever. But I started off as a news reporter there, but he decided that I would be what he wanted as a fashion critic, because it was almost, you wrote about them in almost Dickensian terms. You'd give them epithets, it was like the ultimate kind of high school paper. And of course, all of us would have been terribly unpopular in high school, including John Fairchild. So in a way, it was the revenge of the nerds. But Jerry Zipkin, who was a famous society walker, was always known as the social moth. Jackie Onassis was Jackie. He was the one who started calling her Jackie O. And you wrote about them as if it were this kind of, romp of a pageant of Vanity Fair. I mean, with lowercase letters. So that could be great fun. The thing I feel the worst about in retrospect is there would be the Metropolitan Costume Ball then, which is not what it is now under Anna. But it was basically Pat Buckley, I think, was in charge of it. It was very society driven. It was sort of between what you see in the Gilded Age and what there is now. And but we would be sent with the photographer to photograph, what these women who had spent all day getting dressed, which was not quite as common a thing then as it is now. We would rate them with stars. Isn't that awful? Can you imagine?
Well, every show is stars, but not people. I don't know. I don't 3.25 star person here.
Yeah. But anyway, and then I started off in New York for them, went to Paris for them, which was great fun. And but there was a moment where I realized, as I had realized at as I would come to realize at the New York Times, don't stay at this party forever. And it was the bravest thing I did. I just turned 30, and I walked in and I said, I'm not going to do this anymore. And they were shocked. No one had expected it.
So you didn't jump in the Times job from that. There was a gap. You kind of
no. I was under contract to Tina Brown for 7 years. First at Vanity Fair, and then at the New Yorker, and I hated it. Because basically I was being paid money for nothing. I mean, you just
hello.
Because in those days they had incredible budgets. They'd send me to Monaco to do a story, and on the way back on the plane, I'd discover that they didn't want that story anymore. It was no longer a hot subject. It was kind of infuriating. On the other hand, I had a great time. In those years, I spent a lot of time, downtown at the Odeon and Barocco and various clubs after. But also at the same time, I was doing movie reviews for Elle magazine, and my first editor there, film editor, was Alex Witchell, who went on to become a theater reporter and style reporter for the New York Times, and was the girlfriend of Frank Rich. And so when they were looking for a new second string critic, he had been reading me, and she said, well, why don't we just ask if he wants us to throw his name into the hopper? And they did, and it happened really quickly. So it was, and it felt like the most natural thing in the world from day one.
What was we mentioned that the first show you ever saw as a kid, was
on Broadway,
The first review, was it Annie Warbucks that you did?
It was indeed very good, yeah.
Yeah, I did a little bit of research. Did a little.
I remember, and again, this tells you how long ago it was. It was 93, but I remember going to Jim's Spa. You know, I lived in the East Village. Jim's Spa was the famous newsstand on St. Mark's Place to get the paper at midnight so I could see my first review in print.
Can I ask, Wiki mentions one story in which you took some crap for something you maybe not misstated, but you wish had been a little different when you were talking about a trans thing.
Oh, yes, that notoriously. Yeah, that was awful. Someone actually in comments pointed out that at this moment in history, you can't, irony is not appreciated. And
nothing's appreciated in this moment in history. Any touch of humor.
What had happened was when the thing that it was objected to when I was talking about Peppermint's character, the man who played her former husband, or the character rather, the shift comes in his acceptance of Peppermint when he learns to refer to Peppermint as a them rather than a her, because Peppermint's character is non-binary. And so I said, I was describing that moment in the play, and I said, and he finds himself strangely attracted to her, excuse me, I mean them. And
people got hung up about that.
And I was trying to mirror out the tone of the play, which I sometimes do, and doesn't always come off, especially if people haven't seen the play. And I got death threats. I got, I hope you die a slow, horrible death. I'd like to see your face melt like wax. It really, well, and I thought on the one hand, yeah, I mean, it was kind of awful because it was not what I had intended. And I'd been I think I covered the first transgender star for in theater for the New York Times.
I mean,
and really supported it. So I obviously I was misinterpreted. It made me realize that I would have to be much more cautious in the future. And
but was that also one of the cogs in the machine where you started to go, you know what? The time is
definitely. No, and when I was talking about self-consciousness sort of paralyzing people, I think that was sort of starting to happen. But no,
and the irony,
I mean, some of my favorite performers are,
but I also,
it was weird. It was almost like I remember saying to Scott Heller, these are my people.
No, I mean, that's the other thing. I mean, and forgive me for talking out of turn, but I believe you are an openly gay person.
I don't think we say openly gay anymore. I think we just say gay.
Yeah, you are a gay
it shouldn't be
person.
Yeah, no.
Proudly. Whatever. So the idea that you would be making fun.
I am, as the anthem goes. I mean, it's been something that's been very easily a part of my life, and I remember once being attacked by John Simon on the Charlie Rose Show for advocating the gay play, what he was talking about was Edward Albee. I mean,
well, half of Edward Albee's plays suck. Not the other half don't, but some of his plays are terrible.
Yeah, but it was the play about the baby that we were talking about at that point. I loved it. I really liked it.
All right.
And he was, but in any case, he was saying that I was too much an advocate of homosexual theater, and
I'm sure he got some melting face letters too, and he got a melting spaghetti on his head one time. So at least we were spared that.
Well, no, but his were, he was genuinely inimical to that tribe of people. I mean, he really,
He never came around. He never, I mean, it was one thing to be that way in the 60s and the 70s, but by the 80s, 90s.
No, I remember once seeing him after the Hello Again, the Michael John McHughes musical opened, and he and his wife were walking by me, and he said, faggot nonsense. And so, yeah, that was real.
Yeah, and
the oddest thing is, he went on tour with Ned Rorem. They would do these debates together. Ned Rorem, a very open in all ways gay man, who would, document.
Because I think when Simon would use that F word, he meant it. I mean, yes, homophobically, but in a way of saying like, in this particular case, this show or this kind of performance is not macho. And I mean, he's trying to, I don't think he was trying to just be, I hate gay people. I think he was saying that this is too, and you're looking at me like you want to kill me right now. But, this is too effeminate for me. This is too prissy. This would be better if it were more cis male-centric or something like that.
Well, I mean, what I said to him, I was very proud of myself. I've seen that on video, because they had two cameras, and so of course my reaction was registering, and I didn't flinch. And I said, "What is this about, John?" I said, "Are we talking about the play about the baby?" He said, "Among other things, yes." I said, "Well, I do think one thing you have to realize that a lot of the things that you may object to in so-called gay theater are so much a part of theater in general now. Certain irony, a certain flippancy with its aware of the darkness beneath." I said, it's really been absorbed into the mainstream culture. I said, so maybe there's something in the water like fluoride. I said,
because I also assume that at a certain point he flipped a little bit on, say, non-traditional casting, which I'm sure was dead set against, but
he was kind of gone by the time that came into, non-traditional casting generally has been such a non-issue for such a long time for me. I love, for example, what they're doing with Oh Mary right now, where like, as long as you have the sense of the absurd, the proper sense of the absurd and the comedy chops, it doesn't make any difference what color or gender you are, or even age, you can do it. And think of the succession of performers from Cola Scola to, and then the next one was Betty Gilpin. I mean, that's an incredible leap. And Jane Krasowski is doing it now. And, but in between there was Jinx Monsoon and, the guy from Unforgettable, Kimmy Schmidt. I'm talking, and a couple of others. So, but anyway, I like that. Because in fact, theater does operate in a way film can't. Theater operates on a level of metaphor where you're not really looking at literal representation. And I think when people play with that, Brandon Jacobs Jenkins did it so brilliantly in Octoroon, where everyone is in some sort of, white face, black face, yellow face, red face. It's, calling all of it into question. Shakespeare for me was always, anyone could do it. If you could find the music and the character, yeah.
No problem with Glenda Jackson playing King Lear. It was just a bad production. But if it were a good production.
I know, that was so sad. I'd interviewed her when she was doing it in London. Or just after she'd done it in London, and I didn't see it then. And she was just about to come to Broadway in Three Tall Women, in which she was superb. Yeah. And she was good in Lear, but there were so many distractions around her. I mean, there was a string quartet, and there were jugglers, and there, signed language and so forth, and you just wanted to see what she could do with it, which I think was considerable. So that was unfortunate. I hated when shows get too fussy, when the same method is applied again and again. You do wonder sometimes if Eva von Hove I didn't like for a while, then I loved for a while, and then I thought, you got to change your ways. We got to have a little more variety than there is. But at his peak with A View from the Bridge and The Crucible, The Damned, that was extraordinary work. What he did with Angels in America. Jamie Lloyd may need to pull back a bit now although again, I thought The Sunset Boulevard was spectacular. I thought, oh gosh, it was gorgeous. And because it is Grand Guignol, it is all red lighting, it is all blood and noir, and that didn't come across in statelier productions, although I thought Glenn Close was pretty amazing both times I saw her in it, whatever it was, 25 years apart. But really to just wallow in it, to find the luridness in it, and what it says about our fascination with those shades of luridness. And it was, Nicole Scherzinger was pretty amazing too. It was a thoroughly invested performance.
So we were talking before, I did bring up that problem review that, or it was a problem, it was made a problem for you. You didn't think you were right. But,
I mean, there were others,
whatever,
but there were others, even early on.
that you
I
would
would
take
get,
back if
I would get, no, there's nothing to take back. I mean, I would have phrased that. I would have put quotation marks around it and made it very clear it was from the script.
But other reviews where you felt bad, or you were kind of like, or I got it wrong, but in retrospect, or I heard somebody.
Well, I mean, my line on this is, and maybe it's a rationalizing, what you're writing is what you felt that night in that moment.
Yes.
With a certain audience at a certain moment in time. And then you go back and it may be that, I mean, it may be that it's just, it's not that it's been fixed, but suddenly it's the moment for it. I mean, you think of Chicago, which was great the first time, but it was so much better the second time because it was exactly its moment in history. Mm-hmm. And it matched the zeitgeist.
Whereas they can never get a chorus line in that moment again, at least until now.
No, I saw that when I was in college. I came up to New York, and I saw it with my sister who lived in New York. This was before it opened, and we queued at the Public Theater, and you went, oh, my life will never be the same. And it was perfect for its time. It was a me-decade musical. It was looking at, even though it was about what's so great and we all come together, it was also looking into unhappy childhoods and how do I make myself the best self I can be, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't revive well, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, the score is still great, but it's still, as a whole, it's got an issue where, as you said, Chicago, I never got to see the original, not Cheetah Rivera.
It was. It's Cheetah Rivera and Win Verdon and Jerry Orbach. Jerry Orbach. Hey.
Yeah. But yet this new Chicago, when that opened, it was the moment for it.
That was thrilling. I mean, there were certain nights that were just pure adrenaline rush. And that at City Center, when it was done as an encores thing initially. And people have in oral histories and so forth, have said since, what it was like Joel Grey and what it was like when they were backstage and hearing the audience before they went on and hearing the audience just, overflowing, erupting, I mean, volcanically, and the thrill of that. But that was, what Anne Reinking did with Fosse's choreography, there's just something, she sweetened it just a little bit, or she made it a little less aggressively cynical. So at the same time that, yes, it was being very, we're all whores, this is how we sell ourselves. But it was also acknowledging the skill and the finesse that goes into razzle dazzle. Bebe Neuwirth, who knew, when she came up, I don't think they had the elevator then. That came to the on Broadway. But when she comes in with those undulating hips to "Come on, babe, why don't we paint the town?" That was, you just thought, Encores gave me a lot of great moments. I really value that program.
Well, speaking of razzle dazzle, what are one or two other profoundly greatest moments in your, whether at the times or a show you didn't even have to review, but when you were in the theater and you just were elevated to the point where, beyond the beyond?
Janet McTeer in A Doll's House. It was Anthony Page directed. I've come to know him a little bit since, but and he said that was one of those nights when my review came out. He said it was really like Hell About Eve or something. Or there's someone standing on a chair reading this, incredible appreciation. It was a play. It was the play that made me think, do never underestimate Ibsen. There is such greatness there. I'd come to think of him as principally sort of politically and starchy because of the interpretations, especially at A Doll's House, like the Jane Fonda and so forth, that had been done since. And this made you aware that this was not a social tract at all, no matter how politically relevant it might have been and will continue to be. This was about the mess people make of their lives and and the feeling of being trapped and finding yourself in a relationship that you realize doesn't work and is smothering you, and what you have to do to get out of it and how much it hurts to do that. I was in tears. Janet McTeer, also casting Janet McTeer as Nora. She's a tall woman. She's like 6'2" or something. She's a jock, she's robust. And then to put her in a corset and cast her against someone where she has to bend her knees when she kisses Torvald. And she's an actress who's been miscast and she doesn't even know it. Nora is in life. So that was thrilling. Hamilton, obviously. It was just, yeah, he's not only changed.
Has he changed theater? Has he changed because Rent was supposed to change, the Hair was supposed to change theater, but it was so sui generis that
Hair and Rent were much more Broadway musicals. I mean, I think Hair was, Galt McDermott has said it was sort of meant to be, his generation's Hell's a Poppin', a kind of a blithe review as much as anything else, even though it wound up going into some very troubling shadows towards the end. And that probably evolved as they were putting it together. But it's very bubbly. I mean, we listened to it when I was 12 years old in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Ba, 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 ba. It was Broadway tunesmithery that was at work there. And Rent was also by someone, it was pop operetta, etc., but it had more of a rock and roll beat, but it was still very Broadway. I think Jonathan Larson was a musical comedy baby. Excuse me.
As opposed to Lin-Manuel, you were thinking.
As opposed to Lin-Manuel, who changes the language, who changes the exposition, who changes the delivery, who he actually, there had been rap in musicals before, but there had never been something that used sort of the propulsiveness of rap and the braggadocio of rap to propel a narrative, to show what people at a moment in history were. I'm doing it in the rhythms, because in a sense, our quote founding fathers, they were arrogant, they were cocky, they were young, they were kicking off the traces. And I thought it was brilliant to think of it in those terms. It's sometimes when you see a Shakespeare set in another age where you go, oh, well, that just matches perfectly. And it's not anachronistic, because what's the essence of the show is the essence of that style is translated into that style. So that was exciting. Seeing Richard Maxwell for the first time, when you see a new voice for the first time, seeing Jackie Sibley-Drury's Fairview was like, whoa, you're gonna do this. To this day, I can't talk about it too much because it relies on a major reversal at the end. That's when I saw that. Susan Laurie Parks' Top Dog, Underdog was thrilling. And this was a playwright I'd really, really admired. The first time I saw it at the Public Theater, George C. Wolfe directed it. And it was Jeffrey Wright. Oh my God. And Don Cheadle, and then Mos Def did it on Broadway. And that got to Broadway was really exciting for me. But this was a playwright who was obviously a woman of some brilliance. But she'd written more esoteric things. They tended to be more poetic, fragmentary, dreamlike in many cases. And they've revived them since. I think Signature has done seasons of this stuff. And when you go back, you think, yeah, it was all there. But Top Dog, Underdog was that sort of sweet moment where a very cerebral playwright finds the way to communicate that vision in terms that would be accessible to anyone without giving up any of her strengths. And it wasn't a selling out, that play. So that was really exciting. Book of Mormon was delightful. When it first came around. The Eva von Hove View from the Bridge, I found incredibly exciting. It was just, again, that's one Arthur Miller play. Every time they do it, there had been a really good production a few years before that Gregory Mosher directed with Leah Schreiber and Jessica Hecht and Scarlett Johansson in her Broadway debut. She was really good. She won a Tony, which doesn't always follow, but anyway, she was terrific. And but it is probably the closest he came to Greek tragedy. And the von Hove, what he tends to do is strip things down to their most primal elements. And it really worked with this. It was, you were trembling when you left the theater.
Well, let me ask, by the way, we've been talking with Ben Brantley, theater critic, theater lover, theater aficionado. Can I ask, is there a play somewhere in a desk drawer that you wrote in your teens or 20s or 30s, whatever?
No.
Never?
No, I did write a play called My Trip to Mexico in third grade that I think is still regarded by many as a masterpiece. But no, I just never felt that urge. I love theater, but I grew up in a family of journalists, of spectators, and academics, and that seemed to be my natural métier and also my natural mode of self-expression. I'm a pretty guarded person. It may not seem like that from talking to me.
About theater, yeah.
But I think good artists are very brave, and that they sort of have to become naked. They have to reveal so much of themselves and put themselves out there. I liked acting a lot when I was a kid, a whole lot, and did a lot of it, did a fair amount of it in college, but realized I wasn't willing to go inside as deeply as was required to be a great actor. I didn't have the skin for it. It's interesting because I did have the skin to be a theater critic, in which I was, as reviled as anyone. But that somehow never bothered me. That just seemed like fair play. That, if Alec Baldwin or who were the others, James Franco, Josh Brolin, if they wanted to publicly attack me, good, yeah. It makes it more entertaining. And it's nice to think that theater could stir up that sort of excitement still. By the time I joined the Times, and Frank, you've seen this a little with Frank too, an element of special pleading had entered the voice of the theater critic, that you had to convince and remind people of why theater was able to conjure feelings and experiences that no other art form could, because it would, and as I said, I edited that book of Times Theater Reviews, and what I envied was there was a period basically between the wars more than any other time, but it continued really into the 50s, where theater was a part of the conversation in New York City.
Yeah.
You just took it for granted. And to some extent that was true, like, if I'd be invited to dinner parties, like Park Avenue dinner parties, that kind of thing, these would still be people, but they'd be rich people who would be interested in the theater because they could afford it. And they're,
but like when I was growing up and getting into the 70s and 80s, it was still like, because there were only a couple of TV stations and there were newspapers of record or hard copy. If there was a major Broadway show opening, everybody knew about it. Everybody kind of go, this is opening. It was a major play by so-and-so or musical. I don't know if
that really doesn't exist anymore. It doesn't exist anymore. And I think for a lot of reasons. As I said, I think there's been a diffusiveness in the way they come upon you, because there's so much advanced press, and it's not even the okay, we'll give the story to the New Yorker, or we'll give the story to the New York Times, and the single story, the interview with Audra McDonald or with Laurie Metcalf or whomever it happens to be. No, they've got their stars out there. They've got them on TikTok. They've got them on Instagram. It's you see them talking to their director. You see them talking to the playwright. And so in a way, it's not that criticism has been precluded, but it's just another voice entering a conversation that's already started. Whereas it used to be when the reviews broke the day, the morning after the show opened, it was with a thunderclap, because what would they say? What did people really think? And even if there had been word of mouth one way or the other, it could still, be a surprise. It could be Oklahoma.
And if it wasn't just, it was also the Times, the Post, the Daily News. I mean, you had
absolutely.
All coming out at night, the next morning, boom. And now it's just like, even to people who've been who've been players in this in some fashion.
No, it's very different. And I think there's a corporate think about producing on Broadway now. I mean, if I'm allowed to say so, because I know people feel he should have been punished further, but I think it's good that Scott Rudin is back in the game, because he actually will look for properties that might not be obvious candidates for Broadway, i.e. Eva Van Hove, i.e. The Humans.
I wish Gertrude Dravinsky were back, because he could put on a show in the way David Merritt could. He wouldn't do it legally, but something the show was there, you know. There's
and there's, again, this is a time in which we're trying to tame all monsters, and a lot of what made the theater what it was the monsters. It was the Jerome Robbins and the bad directors, and the Merricks and so forth. And is that a trait? I mean, Picasso was a monster. Would we rather he not have existed? It's tough. It's an endless debate, and I mean, part of me thinks, so yes, we should all be, kind to one another, and people should not be told this is not an appropriate way to behave. I think you can still do that. I think you can tell people this is not a great way to behave. Some people, it's just sort of coded into their system. I'm reading Keith McNally's memoir now, the restaurateur, called I Regret Nearly Everything. But he talked about his first chef at the Odeon being so brilliant, but such a bully that finally he had to let him go and said, you can't treat people this way. And he burst into tears, the chef, and said, I won't, I'm so sorry. And so he rehired him on the spot. And the guy goes back into the kitchen, and suddenly the screams are coming from the kitchen again. So it's tough when talent is accompanied by really nasty temperament. And we used to, sort of revel in it. And, plays like 20th Century, the self-dramatizing divas.
Max Bialystock, I mean, the sacred monster, the beloved monster in a way. Well, we have a beloved person here, not a monster at all, quite obviously, but a monster writing talent in Ben Brantley. Is there a place where what is the name of the book that you edited of Times reviews, not just yours, but of everybody's for 100 years? Or
I did two. One was called, I think, the New York Times Book of Broadway, and the other was which is much bigger. It's an Abrams book, and it's a lot of color pictures. It's actually quite beautiful. It's a good Christmas gift. What was that called? I'm just looking at it. It's somewhere in my shelf. Do I have it here? I think it's the New York Times Book of Musicals, something like that.
Well, for Ben Brantley, and if people wanted to read your years and years of reviews, they're still on the New York Times archive.
Oh,
so read your stuff.
Nothing disappears. Although my Women's Wear Daily stuff was never put online. They didn't digitize it. My Vanity Fair stuff is still available.
Who has the rights? Like, if you wanted to see your Women's Wear Daily stuff republished, do you have the rights to that material and you could do it, or does WWD, they own it, they can decide?
I have no idea.
You can? No. Or it's past, you don't really care?
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't want my Women's Wear Daily reviews in a book. That was very perishable stuff. It was great fun in the moment, but it's not. I mean, what I did like about it, and what I like about really vital, morning after theater criticism and sports writing, I love the purpleness of a lot of sports writing, the passion, is that sense of, you were there. We were there. This happened in real time. God, you should have seen what it was like. And even if it's, Calvin Klein going, long, or, Eva Van Hove redefining Arthur Miller, it's a big event. And when there is that sense, I'm sorry, there's not a single night anymore that sort of stands out in theater, but that was like the opening night, like that sacred night where this was the performance. And you read I don't think it was signed, but a piece on John Barrymore's Hamlet in the New York Times, and it begins with just describing the atmosphere of expectation, and that it was very lushly written. It was nowhere in particular, yet it was everywhere, that kind of thing. And then going into how great it was when he fulfilled expectations. I don't think there'll ever be anything like that again. That can still happen in sports. But
I get that.
Although actually that's usually on screen. So I guess we all experience that at the same time when Senate defeats Alcaraz or whatever it happens to be.
But at least the two of us at one point were someone's in a tree while these things were happening, you know?
Yeah.
It was like we were there and we took it from our little vantage point of everything that was going on, whether it was opening night or whether it was, 48 hours after opening night. We were still, we were there and reporting as best we could. Well,
yeah, Sondheim was also, there were two writers that I sort of associate my time at the Times with, or two creators in particular, and one was Edward Albee, and I talked to a biographer of his just yesterday, and 2 days ago, and he was saying that my trajectory at the Times paralleled the second act of Edward Albee, and so that was kind of a wonderful parallel track, and Sondheim had written most of his best work by the time I was writing, but to see it come back, and especially to see Merrily come back in such glory, Merrily We Roll Along, so that was very exciting too.
Yeah. Well, much more excitement and writing for you, Ben Brantley, that we wish you here from the Daverhood. I thank you so much for a delightful hour. I hope you can come back and talk to us more and more and more.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Me too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, shalom, my friends. Rabbi Sol here, Sol Solomon of Temple Sons of Bitches in Great Neck, New York. And what a delight watching that interview between David, the host of this program, and Benjamin Brantley. I used to read his things in the New York Times all the time about the theater. And now, speaking of reading, Dave has tapped me this week to do the StoryTime segment. This is a segment that they came up with when Dave got lazy and didn't want to have to write material. He could take other people's material and share it and goof on it and make fun of it and have fun with it. Sometimes he lets me do that, like over the next couple of weeks I'll be doing some Carracas books. But today, Hayom, I will be reading to you from the classic work of children's literature, the Pout-Pout Fish. Because, let's face it, even though this book isn't ostensibly Jewish, it is Jewish. So, the Pout-Pout Fish on this segment, story time!
Tell me a story, tell me a story, tell me a story, remember what you said. You promised me, you said you would, you gotta give in so I'll be good. Tell me a story, then I'll go to bed.
Diddle, 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 diddly, diddly, dee. So, we have the Pout-Pout Fish, which is a New York Times, speaking of New York Times bestseller by Deborah Diesen, that's a pretty Jewish-sounding name, and pictures by Dan Hanna, which doesn't sound Jewish at all, but the pictures look cute. So let's read this. This is Farrar, Straus, and Giroux from New York, the publishing house. It's for Mason and Isaac and for Stella. All right, copyright 2008. So it's already ancient. There's already a generation that doesn't know from the Pout-Pout Fish. Here we go. Deep in the water, where the fish hang out, lives a glum, gloomy swimmer with an ever-present pout. It's basically every Jewish middle-aged man that ever existed. Here he is. Oh, yeah. He's got the eye bags. He's got the middle-aged man's gut. His tail is kind of hanging down. I'm guessing his blood pressure isn't good either. Here we go. I'm a pout-pout fish, goddammit, with a pout-pout face. So I spread the dreary wearies all over the place. So, yes, if you ever run into these people on Temple on Saturday morning, you know exactly what we're talking about. He goes blub, he goes blub, he goes blub. Literally looking like a matzo ball that someone is flattening with a spoon. Along comes a clam. And before you get your mind out of the gutter, it's an actual clam. With a wide, winning grin and a pearl of advice for her pal to take in. Hey, they do make the clam a girl. Not even gonna, yeah, the clam's a girl. Hey, Mr. Fish, with your cross-town frown, Don't you think it's time to turn it upside down? And don't you hate people like that? Or clams like, don't you hate? It's like, all you have to do is adjust your attitude and you'll be fine. You have clinical depression, but just put a smile on your face and that will change everything. Says the fish to his friend, nice thought, Ms. Clam. I hear what you're saying, but it's just the way I am. And yes, the book is woke enough to be Ms. Clam. Okay, again. This is not gender neutral. I'm a Pout-Pout Fish with a Pout-Pout face. So I spread the dreary wearies all over the place. Look at me, he's sliding down the thing there. Blub, blub, blub. He's doing the blub thing again. All right. I love the repetition in children's books. Along comes a jellyfish. He floats through the ocean. His tentacles all trailing in gentle locomotion. Basically, if I'm in the steam room, my testicles do the same thing. Hey, Mr. Fish, with your daily scaly scowl. I wish you wouldn't greet us with a grimace and a growl. Says the fish to his friend, Mr. Jelly, I agree. I'd like to be more friendly, but it isn't up to me. And you'll notice the cute little using a peanut butter jar, jelly, peanut butter, jelly. This is what passes for wit for 5-year-olds. Here we go. I'm a Pout-Pout Fish with a Pout-Pout face, so I spread the dreary wearies all over the place. Yeah. Okay, blub, blub, blub. Come on, all right, we get it already. Along comes a squid. Quite a slender, squiggly sight. It's kind of like my schmeckle. Look at that, it even has the eye on the end. It's a girl. It's a girl squid. It's a squidlet. A squidette. She is squirmy. She is squelchy. She needs to say a gynecologist. She is slightly impolite. Hey, Mr. Fish, you kaleidoscope of mope. How about a little smile, a little joy, a little hope? Says the fish to his friend. Yo, bitch. No, he doesn't. He says, Mrs. Squid, I would try, but I haven't any choice. Take a look, and you'll see why. I'm middle-aged, and I got spots on my skin, the liver spots there, and I got the eye bags, I got the hangy sort of droopy lip, I have issues in my calves. Not good. Not good. I'm a I'm a Pout-Pout Fish with a Pout-Pout face, so I spread the dreary wearies all over the place. Blub, blub, blub. Okay. We're moving through this book. Along comes an octopus with 8 great arms, covered on the underside with tiny sucker charms. Could be pimples. He might have to see a dermatologist. Hey, Mr. Fish, let me tell it to you straight. Your hulky, bulky sulking is an unattractive trait. Says the fish to his friend, my sulk is not newish. Look at me, I'm Jewish. No, he doesn't say it. He says, Mr. 8, my chum, with a mouth like mine, I am destined to be glum. He's born with a pout, so his face kind of naturally goes into it. I'm a Pout-Pout Fish with a Pout-Pout face, so I spread the dreary ways all over the fucking place. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, we get it. Jesus Christ. Not actually Jesus Christ. I'm a rabbi, so anything other than Jesus Christ. Now, along comes a fish in a silent silver shimmer. Oh, she's pretty hot. Oh, yeah. Oh, she's going to make that octopus's arms stand right up, if you know what I'm saying, and I think you don't. The gang has never seen before this bright and brilliant swimmer. She approaches Mr. Fish, but instead of saying, hey, she probably charges $200 an hour, she plants a kiss upon his pout, and then she swims away. Whoa, yes indeed. Like to see her down on her fins. Mr. Fish is most astounded. Mr. Fish is just aghast. He is stone-faced like a statue. Then he blinks and speaks at last. "My friends," says Mr. Fish, "I should have known it all along. I thought that I was pouty, but it turns out I was wrong." All right, I don't understand I'm a kiss fish with a kiss face for spreading cheeries all over the place. No, women do that to you, right? Right, that first love thing, first couple of you're dating somebody, it's like everything's wonderful, all's great, and then you realize what you're really into, and then the pout will return, buddy, let me tell you. So I'll smooch. 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 So he's just kissing. He's kissing the jellyfish. He's kissing the squid. He's kissing and licking the clam, which is something we have to do, at least on their birthday. And finally, whoa, sexy time, as Borat would put it. Look, he's getting his little, his fins on. Look at this, ho. And wouldn't you know, there's now all sorts of other books in the Pout-Pout series. He's probably making little baby Pout-Pout fishes now. He's got, what else? Pout-Pout Fish in the big dark. That doesn't even make any sense. The not very merry Pout, that's the Christmas one. There you go. But wait, now he's happy. Oh no, he's no longer. This one he's smiling. It's really hard to see and read. I've got double glasses on. I still can't read the damn things. Hold it. Let's see. Smile, Pout-Pout Fish. Yeah. Sweet dreams, Pout-Pout Fish. This is where he actually has physician-assisted suicide. Kiss, Pout-Pout Fish. He's back to that again. Trick or treat, Pout-Pout. How about Chanukah? Where's the Pout-Pout Fish for Chanukah? Where's the Pout-Pout Fish for... He actually be very appropriate for Shoah or for Yom Kippur. He should be kissed on Yom Kippur by a kipper. This would make tremendous sense for the Pout-Pout Fish. Anyway, that is the book from Farrar, Straus Giroux Publishing. It's the New York Times bestseller by Deborah Diesen, pictures by Dan Hanna. There it is, the Pout-Pout Fish, or in this case, why is it? Okay, that should be a smile. You put two eyes up here. This should look sort of like a smile. I'm not sure how I can do this. I can't do it. I'm not going to bother. Anyway, this was today's story time. Coming up, we got more Jewish story times for you. So, over the next couple of weeks, we've got Mendel's Chanukah Mess Up. Yeah. And the parakeet named Drago, which, by the way, look at, we talk about great literature. Look who the author of this is. Isaac Bashevis Singer, of all people. The man who went mental with Yentl. So you're not going to want to miss upcoming episodes of the Dave's Gone By program, because I will be part of them. Rabbi Sol Solomon, of blessed memory. If you want to know more about me, go to my website, shalomdammit.com. Shalom, D-A-M-M-I-T. Shalomdammit.com, because you can listen to my sermons. They're called Rabbinical Reflections. You can watch the TV show I used to do on Long Island Cable TV called Shalom Damn It, Rabbi Sol Solomon's Peace, Love, and Acid Reflux Hour, except it's only a half hour. Yeah. And then also the stage show. When Dave and Ben Brantley were talking theater before, I did a show off Broadway at the Richmond Shepherd Theater and the Roy Arias Theater called Shalom Damn It, an evening with me, Rabbi Sol Solomon. The video of that performance, professionally shot, is available to you for you to watch at my website, shalomdammit.com. So much of my material available for you, my friends. Well, it remains for me to wish you a thoughtful Thanksgiving. I know we're all supposed to now hate Thanksgiving. It's supposed to be a holiday where all the people feel guilty because of all the things that our forefathers did to create this country and all the folks that they killed and tortured and rounded up and pushed away and exiled and hurt. The story of our country is pretty horrible, but if we go around miserable on this day that we have off, this whole weekend we have off. And let's face it, if you're a football fan, it's pretty miserable. But take the day for what it is. A day to be thankful for the good things that you have. If you have family and they don't drive you crazy, be thankful for that. If you have a roof over your head, or if you're upside down, it's under your head. If you've got food to eat, if you're reasonably healthy and you're not coughing up catarrh every 10 minutes or playing your guitar every 10 minutes, then be grateful. Find the things that you have at least some gratitude for. And if you're not a Jew, you don't have to pray to Hashem. You can just be grateful in general to fate, to the world, to life itself, and go, life sucks. We're in a crazy time. Everything's wrong. Everything's terrible. This is failing on me. I'm getting older. This. But for a day, you know what? It's kind of nice that the televisions have a remote control, right? Even that. Even if, when I want to watch TV, people still have television sets, I can pick a thing. I don't have to get up and change the. Be grateful, right? Be grateful. Oh, I'm eating gum. I mean, crap. I open the freezer. I just have a frozen dinner, which is a pound of salt with a little gravy on it and one nugget of chicken. Oh, I throw it in the microwave, and in 5 minutes I'm eating dinner. No fuss, no muss, no boom, boom, I throw out the carton, it's good. Be grateful. Honestly, find the things that you are grateful for, and then be miserable and guilty because you're Jewish or not the whole rest of the year. So be thankful for Thanksgiving. And have if you're not a vegetarian, have some turkey. If you are a vegetarian, have something that tries to make itself taste like turkey, except it's nothing like turkey, but you fool yourself mentally into thinking it has some kind of seitan, tofurkey feel to it. And make yourself believe that and be thankful that you're healthy or healthier than those of us who eat actual turkey and gravy and stuffing. Anywho, I've been stuffing your minds with things to think about, which is what I'm here for. Rabbi Sol Solomon, have a wonderful week. Let me bring the program back to the one, the only, the David Lefkowitz. Thank you for being part of StoryTime. It is just a little bit after 11:30 in the a.m. of the morning here on the Dave's Gone By Facebookio, Podcastio, Programmio of the stream with me, Dave Lefkowitz. So reminder that our archives are at davesgoneby.com and at archive.org, and that you can write to me, davesgoneby@aol.com, davesgoneby@aol.com. And also we have our Twitter feed or X feed, Radio Dave 2. We have an Instagram page, david.lefkowitz. Lots and lots of ways to keep in touch with the show and what we're doing. Well, what we still have to do on this 1008th episode of the program, live on this Saturday, November 22nd, 2025, and by the way, we're calling the episode Big Ben in honor of our guest, is, we've got to get some phone calls, because it's time for Greeley Times, based on a column in the Greeley Tribune. Yes, Greeley. I can't play any more of that because I'll get dinged for copyright infringement. But here's the deal: people call in to the Greeley and Weld County Police Department seeing something weird or scary in their neighborhoods, but the weirdest and scariest parts are sometimes the people themselves or what they're calling in for. So, ladies and gentlemen, this, and the funniest ones are collected in the Greeley Tribune newspaper. So here, for this week, let me just lower that down a little bit, the Greeley Times that we, oh my God, look at me, sexy me. Uh-huh. We'll start with a call, because the phone did ring a moment ago. Where is it? Okay. I'm on the horn. The ketchup phone. Yeah. Oh, okay. And it's funny, when we were in Boston, one of the places we were staying near was the Heinz Center.
Oh, it was a different spelling though.
Yeah, different Heinz. It wasn't, but still. The body. Oh, no, it's not that funny. The body of a Weld County woman who disappeared from her Loch Buoy home 7 years ago was found in September. She was inside a detached garage just feet from her house. The guy who found her had been sorting through junk on the property before it was sold. So, yeah, this is more of a story in the Trib.
I couldn't find her.
Why? Yeah, I mean,
She's in a garage. I mean, like, somebody's missing in their house. I think the garage is like the next logical.
I know, right?
I'm not a detective, but I think that would be like, maybe they fell in the garage, going to the car.
I don't know what it was. So, in fact, at first, the dude wasn't sure whether the bone he found was part of a Halloween decoration.
Oh, jeez.
Because fake skeletons were set up around the property at the time, right? Oh, he probably found these too. I guess this is how they identified her.
Here, held up here.
Anyway,
But try these.
So this guy, oh, there we go. So the guy found like a bone and wasn't even sure if it's a real thing, but it turned out to be a human bone of this missing woman. He consulted with a neighbor, and the two men realized the remains were real. They called 911, who phoned the woman's stepson, and they told him, "Are you sitting down?"
God.
Police aren't saying the cause of death or whether they suspect her late husband or foul play. For his part, the stepson, like the woman's family, blames police for poor detective work 7 years ago. Biggest thing that doesn't make sense to anybody, he says, is how cadaver dogs were out there 3 times and missed a body that was on the other side of this very thin piece of metal, he said.
Makes no sense.
It's like, she literally, yeah.
Maybe they didn't go out there.
And it is true that so many times when somebody dies, they literally, they go scouring miles away, and they're buried under the next door neighbor's lawn or something, but I don't get it. Anyway.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, what, Dave? Oh, another call. Yeah, where are you?
I'll catch your phone.
Okay, on the other catch-up phone, too. Oh, no, I'll get it. Okay.
Of course you will.
A call, caller?
He can't read, honey.
Yeah, he's the problem.
No, you read for him. You read for him.
Yeah, better. Okay, I'll read for you, Potato. Okay, here we go. A caller on 13th Avenue saw a teacher out by her fence lighting things on fire. I guess the time to hesitate was through. I don't know. It was like,
Don't make the coven angry.
the kids today. Huh. Oh, cool phone. A caller at 8th. Oh, we got more. Oh, wow.
I can't do that today. You don't mind, okay?
So we got a caller at 8th and 10th who saw a man doing drugs on the sidewalk next to a woman wearing clown makeup. And this, I don't know if this was, and I need to make this very, very clear. I made this note. So the man was doing drugs next to a woman wearing clown makeup. This was not on Halloween. Okay, this was already into November. Wow. So anyway, oh, another one. Wow, they're coming fast and furious. Yeah. Where are? Okay, unknown address. Oh, what? Oh, piggy. Oh, hold on. A caller at an unknown address said the family in the basement apartment kept banging on their ceiling, and someone kept going outside and screaming. And the caller said this was an ongoing issue. Some folks just know how to party. I mean, it's one thing if that happens, like one wild party, everyone, but it's like a constant thing of people banging and screaming. And
I bet you she was walking around in heels above them and made them crazy.
oh, I wonder. That would, yeah. All right, let's have another call. Let me get the cup phone. A caller on 11th Street said a driver was doing burnouts in front of the caller's house and crashed into some bushes. Shortly after, another driver showed up with a group of people. They got out and tried to help the first driver out of the bushes.
Nice.
That's kind of, yeah.
That's what friends
Are for beating the bushes, ladies and gentlemen.
Around bushes when you crash your car into the bush.
Yeah. I wish someone had crashed his car into George W. Bush, I'll tell you that. Oh, we have another. The phone is ringing, ladies and gentlemen. It's a Bell telephone. A caller on 30th Street. 30th Street Place. Always sounds much more ritzy when they put place after something. It's like 13th Avenue Place. So this caller reported a man and a woman who drove into a construction zone and started taking photos and videos. Okay.
Maybe they're insurance agents.
You know, right? This is where the accident will take place. Oh, wow, got another one. Okay, drum phone. Oh, let me put it near my eardrum. A caller on 45th Avenue
Oh, wow.
saw a feral cat.
Oh, wait.
The cat kept entering the backyard and kept trying to get the caller's fish out of a pond. Oh.
He's hungry. That's sushi, honey. Sushi.
Yeah, but basically, it is. It's koi. I'm having the koi with rice now. All right, one more and then we'll do an elsewhere. But a caller at 9th Street. Oh, I'll get the turkey phone.
Okay.
Here we go. Okay.
Here for winter, get that snowball.
Oh, okay.
Let's try another one. Let's see.
I'm trying to understand this, but the call is gobbled.
Oh.
That's a turkey joke. All right, let me try this one. Yeah, baby. Here we go. A caller at 9th Street saw a caller at 9th Street saw a man walking down the middle of a one-way street and throwing things at cars when they would honk at him. I just wonder, how do people find all these things to throw at cars when they're walking down the middle of the street? There's usually not much litter or debris or whatever, and yet they're always picking things up, finding things.
Maybe like they have sticks or something, like leaves,
Leaves,
maybe things in nature.
The occasional thrown out saxophone or something. All right, now let's do something special, because on Greeley Times, oh yeah, that is the signal that not only do we have another news item, but this is not from Greeley, Colorado at all. This is another piece of odd news that comes from anywhere else in the world. We share them as part of Greeley Times. So ladies and gentlemen, today we go to Tampa, Florida for this story that was reported initially by the Shepherd Express. Former strip club employee Jordan Cotto went to the Atlantis Gentlemen's Club to, quote, speak. He wanted to speak with management. And that's their quotes, not mine. Instead, well, the speech kind of devolved because instead of just having an argument, he got involved in a verbal argument, grabbed a cheeseburger from his car, and hurled it at the other guy. Now, the victim was unharmed. I mean, yes, he was unharmed. But still called police, who got Cotto to admit throwing the Whopper and to say he would do it again. That got him arrested for battery, but released on his own recognizance. So, I mean, I get it. You're not allowed to throw anything at someone, but still, and it's a cheeseburger. And admitting to throwing the cheeseburger got him arrested.
Well, I guess it's assault with the deadly.
Or no, but if it were a fillet of fish with the crust on it, then it would be battery. Thank you very much. And remember, let this be a lesson. It's fine to have an argument, but don't have a beef with someone. Thank you very much. All right, let's do one or two more of Greeley Times, and then we'll move forward with the rest of the show. Do we have another call?
Hold on a second.
Oh, new tater phone. A caller on 28th Avenue said a domesticated rabbit found its way into her apartment. How did she know? How did she know it's a domesticated rabbit?
He probably wasn't trying to bite her. It probably was very nice and not feral. That's nice.
I think it's possible the rabbit wanted her diamond jewelry. Well, because of all the carrots. Get it? Do we get that? We get that. We get that.
I do like that.
And last one for this week's Greeley Times on Dave's Gone By. Here we go. A caller at an unknown address said, I'll take the trombone phone. This caller said he still lived with his ex-girlfriend, and now she brought another guy back to the house they share. The caller thought it was disrespectful that she brought him over.
But they're roommates now, right?
This is like a Dear Abby thing more than
they're
a...
roommates.
I mean, she's allowed. They're just, but it's still...
It's in poor taste. I mean,
Yeah.
that was...
And if he hears her having a lot more fun than they ever did in bed, it's like, oh, you're so much bigger. Oh, you're so much better. It's like, God damn it. But I don't know, the calling of the cops.
I guess people are desperate, you know. They probably only know one number, you know.
That could be. That could be.
Who are they gonna call? Yeah.
Who are you gonna call? Dave's Gone By, because we do Greeley Times every Saturday as part of the program. So let's now move out of Greeley, Colorado for the rest of the show.
Mr. Horace Greeley was no fool. I'm sure that you'll agree with me that Greeley was no fool.
What he is getting at is that Mr. Greeley was no fool.
All right, it is, oh my gosh, it's more than 11:45 already Eastern Time in the Daverhood. You're watching our 1008th episode. We're titling it Big Ben because of our wonderful guest, Ben Brantley, talking to us in the Daverhood. Reminder to get his books, his compendium of theater reviews from the past century, not just his own, but of really fine theater criticism for the times that he helped put together. Anyway, we thank him very, very much for being on Dave's Gone By today, for being our new friend and alumnus of the Daverhood. So every week we make it our business to thank the folks who appear on the show, not just today, but in the months and the many, many years. We've been on the air for 24 years. All these hundreds of people who have taken the time and shared their stories, their laughs with us on the show. We call them friends and alumni of the Daverhood, and we keep tabs. We let you know what they've been up to. Okay, so our friends of the Daverhood this week include, hey, congratulations to Carrie Purcell. Speaking of writers, and I think she has written a story or two for the Times, but this week she has a story in Parade magazine where she interviewed Ted Danson and Mary Steenburgen. You've probably seen it. So that's by Carrie. And I know a couple of weeks ago she was casting around looking for a full-time gig. So I don't know if she found one, but at least, hey, this is pretty good compensation there, having a major story in Parade. And congratulations to our friend Chip DeFa. He has a new album out. It's called Down in Honky Tonk Town. put out by Garrett Mountain Records. So Chip has been a record producer of theater and cabaret stuff for many, many years now. His latest is his own. It's not just other singers doing shows and things. He's the singer down in Honky Tonk Town. So grab that album and give it a listen. Want to wish a refuah shlema to someone we absolutely love on this program, Sylvie Simmons. She is a rock journalist, a rock interviewer. She wrote probably the book on Leonard Cohen and has interviewed basically everybody. She's also a singer-songwriter in her own right and has been concentrating on that over the last few years. Well, she had an accident last week that put her leg in a cast.
Oh, God.
And she's having some issues getting around, and
Okay.
she's fine. She was just traveling and doing all these wonderful things, and now life happens. So, but I'm sure she'll be fine. She's feeling a lot better. So yay, and as we say, get well soon to Sylvie Simmons. And I want to remind you, I got a lovely email from our beloved friend Ronald Rand.
Oh, what's he up to?
Well, his book, The Marsh in May, 30 Poems with 29 Paintings, is out, and you can buy it from Sunbury Press. It looks lovely, so please get yourself a copy of 30 Poems with 29 Paintings by, the paintings and poems are by Ronald Rand.
Oh, he's a beautiful artist. Yeah. Wasn't he a Fulbright, like ×3?
Was he, or something like that, or he travels everywhere. He's asked to do his show about Harold Clurman. He has a one-man show about Harold Clurman, and he teaches too. And there's a new song, Ready or Not, by Little Fyodor and Babushka. It's called, quote, great title, I Hate Myself, or What the Benadryl Gave Me. It's on, you can listen to it on Bandcamp and wherever alternative music is sold and listened to, Little Fyodor and Babushka. Letting you know that just today and tomorrow, it's your last chance to catch the play The Other American, which is directed by Ruben Santiago Hudson off-Broadway at the Public Theater. The play is by and stars John Leguizamo. Unfortunately, we haven't had him on the show, but Ruben we have, so congrats to him on that. Andre DeShields is Tartuffe, that is playing at the House of the Redeemer. You have until tomorrow to catch that. And then you have this weekend into Monday from our guests 2 weeks ago. Bill Russell and Justin Ross Cohen, the director, Has Anyone Seen My Mind? Is at the Laurie Beachman Theater through tomorrow. Gabriel Barry is directing the show Reunions at City Center Stage 2 in Midtown. That is playing now through early December. And now through mid-February at the Broadway Theater, second stage's Helen Hayes Theater. Danny Burston is one of the stars of the play Marjorie Prime. Robin Hitchcock is going to be doing 2 nights at the Bowery Ballroom tonight and tomorrow. It makes me wish I were in New York to see this. Robin Hitchcock with a full band. Can't miss it. Today and tomorrow at the Bowery Ballroom. Evan Seplow is the founder and editor of StageBuddy.com. Vicky Quaddy does her shows like Are You Smarter Than Your 8th Grade Nun? All around the Chicago area. David Sheward writes theater reviews for TotalTheater.com. David Kenny has his radio program Everything Old is New Again, Sunday nights on WBAI in New York. Darren DeVivo has his new radio show on WKZE Friday evenings. It's called Noises from the Valley. Eva Heineman says High Drama on YouTube and Facebook. That's a theater review program. And a reminder that you can listen to the longtime veteran broadcaster Phil Hendry and hear his brand new podcasts and his older radio shows at philhendryshow.com. And it's HENDRIE, philhendryshow.com. And those, my friends, are the friends of the Daverhood. Oh, I cut that off a little bit early. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is about 5 minutes to noon Eastern Time here on Dave's Gone By on this November 22nd, 2025. I'm here with my darling and adorable wife. We've done so much. We've had Ben Brantley talking about theater. We've had our Greeley Times calls to the police. We've had our Pout-Pout Fish read to us by the great Rabbi Sol Solomon. And what else did we do? We talked about my trip to Boston. Really, and very, very full show, I would say. So why would I want to ruin it? Why would I want to bring things down? Because I can't help myself. We need to have our Colorado Limerick of the damned. So many years ago, when my wife and I were living in Colorado, I decided, a spur of the moment, to write a poem about as many places in Colorado as I possibly could, making sure to use the name of the town as the rhyme scheme in all these limericks. So first and second line and fifth line have to rhyme with the name of the town. Well, I thought I would do a dozen of these just for fun. Then I ended up doing 2 dozen and 4 dozen and 8. There are now more than 300, I think closer to 320 or 30 of these Colorado limericks of the damned. Because not only do they have to rhyme and be limericks and scan metrically, not only do they need to talk about a place in Colorado, but I try to make them amusing in a risque and even downright dark and disgusting way, because that's how I roll. And then because limericks are supposed to be generally a funny, kind of ribald piece of literature. So ladies and gentlemen, on today's episode of the show, our limerick is Carracas, Colorado. Yeah, who knew, right? Not Venezuela, Carracas, Colorado, to which we will go with our limerick of the damned.
A limerick is a comic verse of 5 lines, in which lines 1, 2, and 5 will end with words that rhyme, and likewise verses 3 and 4 also end with words that rhyme. So this is a limerick.
Rocky Mountain.
Yes, Rocky Mountain High we get here on Dave's Gone By. So let me tell you a little bit about Carracas, Colorado, and then I'll read my poem, and then you can recuperate. So, Carracas is a community in far southern, midwestern Archuleta County in Colorado. It was named for a Hispanic settlement that developed with the Denver and Rio Grande Railroad in 1881. Today, it's still there. The Carracas area includes the Carracas Campground, which is within Navajo State Park.
Is the name for the music instrument, the caraca?
Oh, no, that's a maraca. The caraca, I don't know what Carracas, Venezuela would be named for. But the area includes several oil and gas wells, this being Colorado, of course. And unfortunately, it also floods a lot due to heavy rainfall. So maybe not the first place if you're looking for a fun place to hike or adventure in Colorado. This may not be your first or fifth or 25th choice. Go listen or read my other limericks to find better places for your time. But Carracas is there, right? And it's in a state park, so part of it is going to be beautiful. And we will beautify it now with poetry as I share my Colorado limerick of the damned for Carracas, Colorado. Ahem. That elder care nurse from Carracas sure had a fine set of maracas. Her bouncin' and shakin' would rudely awaken the cocks of the old Altarcacas. Probably should have gotten Rabbi Sol to do that one. If you want to complain, please go to davesgoneby@aol.com. davesgoneby@aol.com is the official email address of this program, and I read everything that comes in. I don't necessarily have a chance to respond, but I love reading your messages. I like reading what you post on Facebook, giving me even the emojis and the thumbs up and the thumbs down or whatever. That's part of why I do the show, just to have that connection with people who like and enjoy or want to complain about sometimes or make suggestions. davesgoneby@aol.com or right on the Facebook page or message me there. Love to hear from you. Want to remind you also that my own other website, DaveLefkowitz.org, is the place to read my stuff. So all the radio and podcast stuff is on a different site, davesgoneby.com. DaveLefkowitz.org is the place where you can read my theater reviews and the interviews. I mentioned I wrote celebrity interviews for places like Playbill and Long Island Pulse and Long Island Woman magazine. I still write for Long Island Woman. So you can read those all there, going back 30-something years and adding more all the time. My song lyrics, my plays, my screenplays. Go check them out, please, at davelefkowitz.org. As a matter of fact, I mentioned just last week or 2 weeks ago, one of my plays is going to be published, right? But my short...
Oh, yeah. When are we getting the book?
Oh, it's going to be...
When is it going to come?
It's going to be... They haven't published it yet, so
You gotta sign your
months.
contract. You'll know when you
Oh,
sign it.
I signed it. But, the playground... No, this is the Red Bull Theater Company. Pretty
Yeah.
well-respected New York company. During the pandemic, did a virtual staging of my play, which is called Restoration Playhouse. It went really well. We really liked it and blah, blah, blah. And they liked the show. So they're including it in a book of one acts staged by Red Bull over the past couple of years. So my play is going to be in there. If you want to read it before it's in the book for free, go on my website, davelefkowitz.org. I still have the rights to my play. Plus, so many other plays that I've written. I am dying for some... I was just thinking about this play today. I think it's the funniest thing I ever wrote, called Cupid in Reverse. Hasn't been staged. I wrote it 2 or 3 years ago. It's just about this couple that's having dinner in a date, couple on a date, having dinner in a restaurant, and the two guys in the table next to them are absolutely impossible.
Oh,
I think it's
you did
hysterical.
a lot of things about
Restaurants. I know. I love restaurants. I like to write about them. I mean, they're a great place for people who are of different natures. We interact in a way that they wouldn't in ordinary things. It's not all family. It's like that's where you meet strangers. So I think it's funny as F. If there's a theater company out there that would like to do it, it's about 25 minutes long. It's only 5 characters in the whole thing. Please, don't make me produce the thing myself. At some point I will have to.
Is it new?
No, I wrote a couple of years ago. But I love it. It's the one play. Rather than I want to revive.
So what's so funny about it?
I want to give it away. Read it. Read the play. You tell me if you think it's funny. It's called Cupid in Reverse, and you can find it at...
Valentine's Day, it would be good.
Perfect for Valentine's Day. Yeah. Yeah. It is not the most romantic. It starts off romantic, but remember, this is a play by me. Yeah. It's like, my version of romantic is, should I use the belt or the whip? No, just kidding. Wah, wah. Anyway, it's a couple of minutes after noon, so we're basically finishing the show. Is there anything else we wanted to talk about or mention, either from Boston or not from Boston, or things going on? We could talk about the gym stuff, but I think maybe we'll wait.
Doctor stuff next time.
Next time.
So you gotta get people guessing.
Yes. Yeah, gotta give them something
Razzle
to...
dazzle, yeah.
It's
Here,
a cliffhanger.
You're dancing. Oh, his helmet's falling. Is that?
Oh, yeah. She's losing her mantilla.
I don't think it's a she.
Oh, it's losing its mantilla.
Potato.
Anywho, I think on that note, yeah, we should table this. So we should be back, though, next Saturday. Here we go. Next Saturday morning, November 29th. Yeah, baby. With the 2009th episode. Well, of the Dave's Gone By Facebook Your Podcast. Got a great... We've been having such incredible guests.
Yeah,
We have another one...
was wonderful.
Oh, Ben?
Interesting man. Yeah.
Well, yeah. And another interesting theater-related person coming next Saturday will be the actress and writer Anne Halliday. She was one of the almost original cast of Too Much Light Makes the Baby Go
Is
Blind.
that the one that straddled you?
No, that was in New York when you were with, or no, she was not. But she was there from like the second year. Ended up marrying our other friend of the Daverhood, Greg Kogas, who co-wrote Urinetown. But Anne is a very talented writer. She's had a zine for a bunch of years about living on the the east side of Manhattan for a bunch of years. She's still keeping the zine going. She's got a book out. And she and her husband appear in a couple of different downtown-y things in New York every month. So they've got Wayfaring Stranger, which is an improv musical. And they've also, and I'm forgetting the name of it, but they did a recent off-Broadway musical too. So she's a great personality. It's Anne Halliday. You don't want to miss her next week. And then a week or two after that on Dave's Gone By, speaking of folks who do this, who are hosts and MCs and interviewers and stuff.
On the boards.
Sorry?
On the board.
On the board. Someone who trod the boards for many, many years and has now become a writer is, if you're a New Yorker, you will know this name immediately, Bill Boggs, the longtime TV host on WNEW. He's had shows on the Food Network. Bill Boggs is alive and well, and he will be on our show in probably 2 weeks, maybe 3. Depends how other guests and things shake out. But boy, oh boy, what guests, what fabulous people we have visiting us in the Daverhood, and that includes all of you guys watching at home. So it remains for me to thank you all, to thank Ben Brantley. To thank Rabbi Sol Solomon, and advise you to check out his website, shalomdammit.com. To thank my adorable, darling, and wonderful wife. And who else do I need? Oh, and to give a shout out to our families, to my dad-in-law, to my mom, to my cousins, my aunts. Who else? Oh, do I have any uncles? No, my uncles are gone. That's unfortunate. But lots of cousins, tons of cousins. Love them all.
Right, okay, I'm trying to figure it out.
Anybody you want to send a happy Thanksgiving to?
I hope everyone is healthy and well and, etc., so on and so forth.
Healthy, wealthy, and wise, and so forth. So everybody, don you now your Turkish apparel. There we go. Oh, God. I can't even.
Do the can here. We'll do the can with your feet.
2, 3. Yeah! Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in on this Saturday morning, November 22nd. We'll see you next week. Until then, have a wonderful Thanksgiving and gone by.
Days gone by. Days gone by.
Over the river and through the woods to... No, we're just getting bagels. See you soon.